Hello? Hello, hello? Hello, everybody? Hello, everybody? I'm doing it right. I'm live. I double checked. I didn't last week when I did my chatting stream. I was a goof idiot and I forgot to actually hit go live on YouTube. And I had like stress dreams about doing that again here. Another fun goof idiot thing I did, despite having the stream available for 5 days in advance, and checking on it multiple times every day to see how much money we had raised, I realized literally like 30 seconds ago, as I was hitting go live on YouTube, that I spelled analysis wrong in the title of the YouTube stream. So I'll fix that once the stream's over. How everyone's doing? How you all doing? I'm gonna just vamp for a little bit, give people some time to come on in, get into the stream. I just tweeted out that it's happening, so it's happening. First of all, thank you everyone who has donated so far. Already reaching $215 before the actual stream had even started, which is amazing. Applaud. Everyone applaud. That's super cool. I honestly wasn't sure how much money we would even make for this. So anything is good though, which is great. And we're doing it. It's happening. Today I went out to Reddit and Tumblr and I posted there that this was happening because I'm like, I gotta get that word out. I don't know. I went to the Ruby sub on Reddit. I don't know if that post ever made it though, because it was like, it needs to be checked by the moderators first, and I'm like, okay. And then the last time I checked, it still wasn't there, from what I could tell. But whatever, it's happening. We're here. We're doing it. How's everybody doing? This is my first time doing something that's more technically demanding of me than just a chatting stream. So if there's any scuff, maybe I apologize. Which was another thing that I was worried about. I was worried that, because like last week when I streamed, I was like dropping frames and stuff, and the internet was all bonkers crazy. And like, then I was like, what if this stream goes terribly? What if this stream's like in 240p and is basically a slideshow? And then I was like, you know what, it doesn't matter. Even if this ends up being scuff galore, the important part is we're doing something and we're raising money, and we've already raised so much, and even if it isn't perfect, it's gonna be for a good cause in the long run. And that's what's most important. So, we're here. Oh boy. Alrighty, so can we talk about how perfect you named this video? Thank you! I'm doing my best, because I did want to make sure that this was a celebration thing, you know? It wasn't a mean-spirited, like, yeah, I don't want to, we shouldn't support Rooster Teeth, but rather than just sit there and be angry like, Rooster Teeth is bad, let's instead take that energy and just direct it in a good direction instead, you know? So, here we are! You get I have another screen that I have, which I made last minute. I didn't think I needed another screen, and then as I was sitting here, I was like, yes, I will. I might not engage with chat too much, mostly because my screen is much smaller than usual, and you move by rather quickly, so if I miss something, I'm sorry. I'm doing my best, but if you donate, I'll try to give you a shout out. If not, then I'll definitely do everyone shout out at the end for anyone who donates. Why is my VTuber model so cute? Oh, thank you. I made it myself. Alrighty. So yeah, I made this screen. If we transition over here, I'll pop in a second. Yeah, here I am over here now. So yeah. I struggled a little bit with figuring out how to get my, this onto OBS. So initially I was gonna go with a Windows media player, but it wasn't loading right in OBS. And then I was like, I'll just open up Premiere and I'll do it in Premiere. But then with Premiere, even though it would open up, it wouldn't show anything, like on my screen. Like the footage, it wasn't showing up there. and I'm sure there's things I can do to fix it. But this worked, and I was like, we'll just go with this. Hello from Brazil. Awesome. Okie dokie. So yeah, if I ever pause or anything, I'm probably getting a drink of water or my dogs are doing something. So, I am expecting a phone call at some point in time today. So if that happens during stream, I'll just pause and I'll let you all know. So if you hear my dogs whining in the background, it's probably because there's just another dog walking past. I made sure to do it now when, like, they've already gone out and everything. Thank you, Anonymous, for donating $5. Hooray! Good job, good job, good job. Alrighty. 1 second. I'm gonna step away just for a quick second. I want to check on my dogs real quick. So I'll be right back. Promise. Okay, I'm back. Everything's good. Yep, there was a person walking past, knocking on doors, and it freaked the dogs out for a second. So, sorry about that. I'm back. I'm here. I don't have a be right back screen, so if I ever have to walk away, I'm just gonna use my starting soon screen. So I hope that works out. Alrighty. So I guess let's get into it. It's been enough time, about 10 minutes since I started. Ooh, I'm excited, I'm nervous. So, here we go. So first things first, I put it all together in this file, you can see, and you can see it's about 11 minutes long. Thank you so much, Cardcaptor17, for donating. If I ever miss a donation, I'll go back through at the end, and I'm gonna read all the donations out, so. And thank you, Lavender Rare, also for donating. Everyone's gonna be so nice today. So, yeah, so it's about 11 minutes long of a video, and I was curious because I kept everything, including the, like, talking scenes in it, because I didn't know if we were gonna want to talk about those or not. So, I got curious, because it's a lot of talking, you know? Like, a good chunk of it is just them standing around talking. And to be fair, the talking bookends the scenes, you know? Rather than... Well, they'll chat a little bit in the middle, like this infamous talking moment. For the most part, it's before the fight starts and after the fight starts, where most of the talking ends up happening. So, but I was curious how much of it is actually just talking, and I cut it up in my editing software when I was getting this footage ready, and it's actually almost perfectly 50-50. Like, 5 minutes of action, 5 minutes of just talking to each other. And I found that so interesting, which I think plays into a bigger part of why does Ruby's fights feel different nowadays, and I think it is the talking scenes. It's hard to write dialogue during an action moment without making it feel like just character says their monologue while things are happening on screen, you know? So, and I think the problem is, the thing with these talking scenes is they say a lot, but they really mean very little, you know? These talking scenes don't elevate the characters or anything, and they mostly just feel like it gets dragged out for no good reason, but yeah, we'll discuss the talking scenes as we go through. What I usually do is, usually in Premiere, I go through frame by frame, and I can't do that with this media player that I have. I've looked around, I fiddled with it, but I can slow down. So we can go frame by frame in essence. So, boop, boo, doo, doo. Speed. Yep. Boop. I've saved us all the, I've turned off the volume. I can show you what it sounds like if I don't turn off the volume, because it is rather awful going through like a slow moment, and this is what we hear. Let's go with this. Do you hear that? And I figured we didn't want to hear that the entire time, so I'm gonna turn the volume off for that. Okay. So let's start from the very beginning. So I actually think the beginning of this fight is really, really cool, because it's technically we go back in time during the transition, because Cordo walks up with her mech, and Weiss is like, we gotta get things started, and then we cut back to this conversation where they're like, why is the tower still up? And that was when Blake went dark and we didn't know what was going on. I also think it's cute that they use like the volume 1 like poser pictures for them in the phone. Yeah, because this is all just talking, we can change the speed on that. Whoops. There we go. Speed, we can go back to normal speed. So yeah. Running around, talking. And so, okay. Do we want to talk about how, like, scaredy cat Blake has become over the years? This is the thing, I haven't been watching Volume 9, but I've seen clips and stuff. Every single clip I see, Blake looks terrified. And I think this was really the beginning of the scaredy cat Blake-ifying of her. Of scared, quiet, demure, needs to hide behind Yang all the time, kind of Blake. Which I'm disappointed with. I liked her better when she was like, a badass fighter. She was strong and confident. But, yeah. So anyway, she hears something, and this, I'm gonna slow down the speed here so we can see this better. This reveal for Adam is really, really smart. So she runs, and we can't see anything. And then this, and then just that extra punch in. So it gives us enough time, because we're like, what's shooting at her? We can surmise it's Adam, because we know what's happening, But we don't know what we're looking for yet. And she's looking for something too. And so in the shape of this structure that she's running around on, it really points our eye. So this is smart, because it's shaped very circular. Circles draw your attention, because we're built to recognize faces and specifically eyeballs, and circles do that in our brain. If there's a circular kind of pattern, we'll usually be looking directly at that. So this, and all these lines you can see point us to this, and she runs over here and looks in this direction. So we're looking over here. We want to know what's down here, because this is where the threat is coming from. And as she runs in, we're like building tension, and as soon as she turns around, we punch in. And it gives us enough, even though our eye was over here where Blake is now, the red of Adam, because everything else is gray, Adam's colors will immediately bring your eye over here, which is a bit of a jump scare, because the way it was before, our attention was in this general direction, and now we see, because we were over here, she points us back this way. So we have just enough time to see the red, our eyes move over here, and we jump scare ourselves seeing Adam. And then once we have just enough time to register that it's Adam, it then punches in further so we get a good look at him. That's really, really smart stuff going on right here. So, usually I would love to talk about these super specific, like, frame-by-frame blocking elements from the show when I usually do an analysis, but it takes so long to, like, explain. This is kind of thing, like, when I went to university, this was the kind of thing we talked about a lot, was leading the eye. It's a lot of just leading the eye. So see, our eye goes here with Blake, we're looking in this direction, we turn, our eye is here, she's pointing us to him, and then we have just enough time to see him, and then it cuts in to give us the better shot of Adam in his full glory. So let's see that in real time to see how much of that actually takes. So she sees the dude, gets scared, draws your eye, OMG, it's Adam. So that's smart. That is all smart choreography. That's smart camera placement. That is smart blocking. I do love talking about editing. These are things that, like, people don't think about. And that's the thing. If you think about it, if you notice it, you're usually noticing it because it's being done wrong. If you don't notice it, that's really good. Good editing is something no one thinks about, because if it's good, you're not thinking about it. That's the hard part. So if you're, like, studying film and you're looking into these things, you have to force yourself to think about these things, and that's where you're going to end up learning techniques and stuff like this. This is also just a good shot. Usually when we look down on a character, it is to diminish them. And people will give absolutes, like, oh, if you always have a camera that points down at a character, you're looking down on them. That's not always the case. This is a good example of that. The way we're fixing it is we're making a frame for him. So this beam right here, this beam right here, this section, and then this section, he's framed. So a frame within a frame. So here's our frame, you know? And this is a smaller frame within it. Rather than diminishing him, it gives importance to him. Thank you for the anonymous person who donated $100. Hot damn! Anonymous hero. You're a hero among men. Aragorn or Arwen. Thank you so much. You're awesome. I'm glad I looked over in just in time to see that. Thank you, $20 for KO. Ko. I hope. If I say your name wrong, I apologize. But thank you so much for donating. I know I missed a few while I was going on my rant about these first 14 seconds. Again, I'll go over it all at the end, and I'll thank you all at the very end. So, thank you so much, everybody. We're already up to almost $400. That's awesome. So, do we want to hear what Adam has to say here? Do we want to listen to the talking scene? We're in normal speed, right? Yeah. So, let's turn on our volume. Boost that up. Boop. Doop. Boop, boop, boop. Finally have time to ourselves, don't you think? It's nice to finally have time to ourselves, don't you think? So, we weren't surprised it was Adam. We've been hinting at it. I do like the way that the dialogue explains that he was just waiting for her to finally be alone, because she was always had someone with her. And that's smart dialogue, but then they ruin it. More sad. Crybaby Blake. Pausing Ruby is such a 50-50, because sometimes you'll get really cool shots if you pause it. You can't hear it? I can't turn my volume up. Oh, you know what? I know what it is. My desktop's just really quiet. I had my volume on like 2 earlier. Does that sound better? Let me know if this sounds better.
It's nice to finally have time to work.
Do you hear that? Does that sound better? I turned the volume up. I hope that worked. What was I saying? Oh yeah, pausing Ruby's such a 50-50 because sometimes you'll get really great shots, and then sometimes you'll just get, like, especially when it's on, like, faces, it's just, like...
Cells, don't you think?
Ugh. Could have been better. But yeah, that was a really smart dialogue with Adam being like, isn't it nice to finally have time to ourselves? And then they just say it. That's something Ruby does so often, where they'll have really good dialogue that tells you exactly what you need to know without having to be overt and overly explain it, and then they'll just follow it up with someone being completely overt and overly explaining it. So, what episode is this fight from? It's from 3 episodes in Volume 6. It started in episode 9, and then goes into 10, and then 11. So, I'm covering the whole fight. Still too quiet for me? I can't turn it up too much louder than that. We're not going to be listening to it too much anyway. So, let's keep going.
For you to be away from them.
Okay. So that's enough of the talking stuff. I'll turn that back off. And let's go back into slow mode. Okay. So yeah. She goes, jumps up. Just looking at her jump. Let's go back 10 seconds. Gonna be the hardest thing is because I'm used to going through frame by frame, and I can't really do that here. So I just have to go like as slow mode and go through each frame. Yeah, like what I was saying when just pausing the show, sometimes it looks really cool and sometimes it doesn't. Action scenes is where it definitely is the biggest, because sometimes you'll get like stretchy ass Blake with her weird legs just ascending upwards. Yeah, Blake's giant stupid coat. I think that the worst thing about it is it's just such horribly ugly muted colors too. You know? Like, what's with this like non-purple? If you're gonna do purple, commit to the purple. Don't do this like pastel falling asleep purple. Why just go frame by frame on YouTube? You can do that. It's not on YouTube. That's the other thing. Yeah, so let's keep going. She jumps up, grabs onto this. Good escape plan. Interestingly, as always, Blake's first instinct is to run. The climax of this is Blake stops running, because that was always her problem, that she was running away from her problems, and I totally understand why she would want to run away, because she has, like, things to do, and Adam was not a part of their plan. They're trying to get out of here. So I don't blame her for running, but we very quickly figure out that running is not an option here. How do I feel about Ruby's use of smear frames? I think it works very well, especially in Poser. They used it a lot better, I would say. I don't like it when Ruby uses smear frames for non-action moments. Like, they've tried doing it a couple of times with their, like, comedy-heavy moments, and those always end up looking more weird than anything else. If I were on YouTube, you can advance forward frame by frame while pausing at the period key with the... If it were on YouTube, you can advance forward a frame while paused with the period key and back a frame with the comma key. You can? Really? That can't be true. Let me check something real quick. I believe you, but let me just double check something. Hold up. Trying to make a million things happen on my computer. Doop. Let's hit a random video. I'll go with one of my videos. I'm vamping while I'm getting this. Let's figure this out. Real quick. Yep, that's my voice. Pause that. Let's see. Period key and comma key. Period key, comma key. Oh my god. You're right. It's true. Well, let me see then. Let me see if I could do something real quick. So, while we're just talking, how's everybody doing? Y'all doing good today? I've learned something. I knew people were going forward frame by frame. I know the title has a typo. I realized that as soon as I went live. I was so embarrassed. That might be, let me double check. Because this fight used to be on YouTube. Let's see if it still is. So let me look it up. Ruby, Blake, and Yang versus Adam. Let's see. OMG, it's here. Well, let me see if I can get that happening instead. Shout out to Tony Nguyen. Nguyen. I'm gonna like their video. So yeah, let me change things around a little bit. Hold up. Gonna move back over. Can I do this midstream? Here we go. Here we go. We're gonna do some scuff stuff. Let me hide this window. Let me add a new window. Yes. Make this bigger. Ooh, I'm doing it. Here we go. Here we go. Alrighty. Perfect. Perfect. I can close out of this then. Get rid of that. Well, perfect. I did so much prep work for nothing. Because like I recaptured the audio and then I recut together the audio and stuff, the video together. I recaptured all of it, I put it all back together, and I exported everything so it was all ready, and here we are. It was easy from the very beginning. Well, now we've learned. Alrighty. Yeah, give this video a like. Thank you for having this on YouTube. Let's go frame by frame and check this out. Let's make this a little bit bigger. And put that. Thank you for whoever suggested we do it this way. You're awesome. And I'll put that behind everybody. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Hell yes. Yes. I know, in light mode. I know. I always do light mode, because if I do dark mode, then I'll keep staring at it. And if I do light mode, my eyes will hurt, and then I'll get back to work, you know? My Twitter's light mode too, except for when I'm on my computer, but I'm hardly ever on Twitter on my computer. I'm on Twitter on the app, and so light mode, that's what I do. Okay, let's go. Let's go back into... Yep, talking. Okay, and now we can go frame by frame. Let me see how we do. Boop, bop, beep, bop, boop. Perfect. Thank you. Hooray! And while I was faffing about getting the frame figured out again, we've gotten over $400. Hooray! Okie dokie. So let's go through this frame by frame. So let's watch. Yeah, that stretch. This is the squash and stretch we were talking about. Sometimes it works, especially for action scenes. There's a moment during this fight that I think it really doesn't work. So it jumps, jump. That face. The face of a hero, everybody. Quality is scuffed. Like what? The quality of the image? I'm working with what I got, guys. Oh, we can raise the quality. Once again, it's always me. I'm the problem. That Taylor Swift song, it's me. It's always me. 1080 option? Yeah, I can do that. I always go with 720 because, like, I feel like it doesn't really change anything if we go super HD. So, alright. Okay. So, yeah. Frame by frame. Big ol' crouch up. She also just kind of, like, ascended. Do you see that? Like, she just, like, comes up into her squat pose. And yee! Ooh! Them arms! Blasting off like a frog. I do love going frame by frame through fights, because you do find, like, animation weirdness like that. trying to escape. But like I said, the point is that she can't run away in this one, you know? And this is our first glimpse of Adam using his semblance like a cool guy in the Maya engine. I think it works really well with the Maya engine. Except for one specific thing, which we'll get to. It'll be a while till we get there, but I think it works really well. It's specifically the like glow to his hair, and you know what really upsets me? They could do this with Yang. You know, like how Yang's hair used to glow rather than becoming fire. They could have been doing this with Yang the whole time, but they haven't. And I think that's kind of disappointing. But yeah, it looks cool. And I do actually really like the like sparks that come off of him. I think that's a nice addition to his semblance. Can we all call Adam the Starscream of Ruby? He does feel Starscreamy, but I think that would actually be Tyrion. Yeah, look at that. Look at that slice. Look at that big ol' slice. Look at that smile. What a happy guy. He's having a good time. He's happy to be here. There it goes. Comes in as a wave. I like the wave slash look of it. You know, when looking at Adam's semblance, especially with the black trailer, it's kind of hard to really picture what it really looked like outside of the silhouette of it all, you know? And so, like, I think they had to figure this out, and this is not bad. I think this is a good way of figuring that out for, you know, the Maya engine, where things are a little bit different. There she goes. Oh, look. Do you see that? Her hand isn't actually attached to the thing she's holding on to. I never really care. Like, in full speed, you would never notice something like this. But I'm always fascinated what, like, techniques they use to, like, cheat the system, basically, you know? Especially with 3D models where, like, so many things, like, cut through the models of stuff that it's hard to keep track of. So, I always love finding things like that. There she goes. Fallen. Oh, remember, Ruby faces just look horrible from this angle. They look best straight on. Falling. Come on, Blake, you're a cat. Cats land on their feet. It just looks so silly. With her arms straight up like that. Alright, there she lands. Hard on her ass. Oof, she's lucky she doesn't have a tail, because it would be broken. Alright, so here's, I think, some of the worst. This volley we're gonna have with Blake and Adam here, this is gonna be the worst part of it, without a doubt. This is also where Blake is, like, prime ugly, I'm gonna say. Alright, so she gets up, didn't land on her feet, breaks an ankle. You see that, right? Here's her foot, right? That's where her ankle bends right there. Gonna snap her ankle to get up. You see that? That's what I was saying about the cheating the model is to make things work the way you're supposed to. If this was like a 2D model, we wouldn't have to worry about it, but here we are. So she gets up, hair in her face, and I'm amazed how much of her hair stays in her face. Now, when we were talking about that squat sit stretch, I mentioned how it doesn't always happen in a good way, and I think this is a perfect example of it. They're stretching her face here, and it just, every single time I pause the video when I'm watching this fight, you can really see her face just doing things. And it's like her hair is like trying to squash around with her face, and there's like shadows and things, and she has this expression happening. And it's really unfortunate looking because it just looks rather goofy. And there's never really a point during this whole falling motion where Blake looks good. And not to say, like, she's supposed to look beautiful and pretty all the time. More like, there's never a point, especially if we go regular speed. There's never really a point where she looks good, like, as a model, like her character model. She's moving very quickly, and it's very, like, slidey, like she squashes around a lot. So let's see, in full speed. So yeah, like, she fell, and I know we were, like, seeing her fall. We had to establish her coming back onto ground with the fall, but usually when you cut in close to a character, this is a great moment to, like, have them do something that is basically like screenshot worthy. Have them get in a pose that we can take a screenshot, put on the wiki, look nice, you know? But we've cut into this basically just to show that she has landed and is standing back up, but they haven't. We could have done more with this, with her. Thank you for another anonymous donating $100. Oh my god. Oh my god. We're only 30 seconds into the fight, and we've already raised $525. You're all amazing. Good job, everybody. Good job. Good job. Yeah. Like I was saying, with the blocking, like we were with that previous moment, there's nothing here that's really. My eye doesn't know where to go. It happens so quickly. Blake's crunched up. The most prominent thing here is this cloud. Like, why is the cloud, like, so prominent right here? I mean, it's a nice looking cloud, but we could have done something more with Blake, or giving her an expression. This was a brief moment to cut closer into her. Wild pilot! Jesus! Thank you, OMG! For another $100! Oh my god! Holy crap. Thank you, anonymous person who stole my soul out of my body for a moment there, donating $525, I think? Oh my god! Holy crap! Wow! Jesus Christ! We love the gays! This is amazing. I was like, I hope we make a $500. That was my hope. The peak of what we could get to. Jesus Christ. No, I'm not okay. I'm flabbergasted. I'm so moved by people's generosity. And it's so amazing. Thank you all. This is awesome. Let's keep going. We got a good stream ahead of us. We're only 31 seconds in, and we're already doing so much cool stuff. This is awesome. Oh my god. Alright, let's keep going. So I think I talked about this moment plenty. Now let's go into this volley between them, which I think, in the history of RWBY, this is one of the weirdest volleys between two characters. So let's go into it, because this sure is something. First of all, it's way too fast. It goes by so quickly. This is something, like, talking about the, like, smear frames, this works, you know, especially on, like, a weapon. She's drawing it very quickly. This works. Faces, I don't know. Okay. Our camera gets down low, because Blake is now squatting for some reason. She's a ninja. Ninjas squat, I guess. Here comes Adam. Adam jumps in, flying through the air, and we can see he's actually moved forward quite a bit, because he was behind this beam, and just by squatching into the air, he is moving forward, so he's coming closer to us. Here he comes, leaping into the air, and his leap is short. He's only, like, jumping for 4-ish frames before he's going back onto the attack with his jump, you know? So, so yeah, he comes flying in, and this frame, we're framing him, which is good. He's our attack, he's the thing coming in, Blake needs to defend against this. So let's see what she does. Her move to block his hit. Nice leg. Get that stanky leg. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Good job. So yeah, he comes flying in. Blake swings. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Look at this boy. Look at... I don't know what this angle is doing to help with this. I don't know why she has to be, like, all Bella booty ass up in her face with this crouch maneuver. What are we doing with Adam? This glow effect, they use it so much. It is so horrible, and it only obscures things. Like, I know it's meant to imply Blake's sword has hit his sword, and it's doing that fine enough, but it's covering up everything instead. And it's so ugly, and they do this all the time. They found this effect, and they throw it on everything constantly. So yeah, here comes Adam, looking just as cool as possible, can't he? So yeah, we came flying in with this. And that lingers on screen for 3 frames. It's 1, 2, 3, and then we move on. And so big ol' swings from both of them. And then these, like, afterglow swings. I don't know if this is really helping anything. I don't think that really helped emphasize their movements at all. It's just a weird, like, wide arc swing from Blake, wide down swing from Adam, a very just wide flail from both of them, you know? So we move forward, and what's happening now? Now that we're in new positions, what's the next strike? Who's gonna do what? Which one's faster? Blake comes back to do a second swing back towards him, and suddenly she missed, I'm guessing? Because her sword was over. Like, she was in, like, a pose like she was gonna swing, like, slash back at him, but there's no slashing effect. There's her ribbon. That's not a slashing effect, it's just her ribbon. And now her sword is over here. So I guess she didn't take this opportunity to hit him, and I guess he's just standing up. Like, what is this pose? Why are we on the floor? Seeing them crunched up like this isn't helping the combat. You know, it's not telling me anything. It's just needlessly close to them and the ground, and it's not making them look cooler. It's not helping the flow of the scene. So, as we move forward, Adam's taking the initiative, I guess. Blake has missed her opportunity. I don't know why. Why did we have her swing this way if we wanted her next strike to have her arm back over here again? You know, if you're thinking of, like, character does a motion, what pose are they in to get them into their next motion, you know? This was a waste of frames. This was a waste of movement from both of them. Now, Adam's ascending back up. He's got to do a downward slash now, which is another weird move from him. Why would you do a downward slash? You were right here. You were crouched next to her. Rather than jump up to slice, wouldn't you slice upward? Like, do like an uppercut strike with your sword at her? She's right next to you. She is right next to you, you know? Your sword can already reach her. You're only, like, 3 feet apart. Just stab at her. Why jump up again to slice down? He jumps up, and he is so open to hit. This is the most easy to hit man in the history of the world. Nothing is protected. He is entirely exposed. And so he has wasted his opportunity to jump, and she has wasted her opportunity by turning back around, and you think this would be a great moment. Now that her sword is back over here, she could stab, just jab at him. But she does the stupidest thing that any character could do, and I don't know why. She, like, backs away instead. He was open. Why did you jump backwards? Just stab the boy. He was right there. Just stab him. Why did you jump away? So yeah, this whole swing, pointless. All of that was pointless. Oh, jeez. And now we're jumping around again. And now it's Blake's turn to become just liquid. In motion, you won't see these ugly liquid moments. But like I was saying, if you hit pause, you're gonna see these things. So she had several opportunities to hit him, didn't take any of them. backed away, and now is backflip jumping over him. Why? Why spin? Why spin? Did the spin help? I don't think it did. So she's coming in to hit, and he actually does a very good job, because his swing missed. She jumped out of the way, and now he's just swinging back to block the hit. How does he know she's coming in for the attack? Maybe it's because they know each other. They know what to predict with each other's strikes. But everything Blake has done has been stupid. This was bad. This was bad fight management on her part. It was confusing choreography, and I don't know why she did this. So, anyway, they slash at each other. Again, these huge effects. You're not helping the scene, you're just obscuring the scene. I can't see Blake. Every single aspect of Blake's body is covered up now because of the glow white effects, his sword slash effect, her sword slash effect. Too much effects, you're obscuring your action. I want to see this. This is the part I want to see. These effects, no. And Rooster Teeth tends to obscure a lot with their effects. You understand? And so, like, if you're gonna do this kind of thing, you see how it's transparent here? Make it all transparent. You know? I watch a fight because this is a character I like, and I want to see them. So, don't cover them up if you can do. As much as you can to not cover them up, try not to. And things like this, you're not helping. It doesn't make the fight look better, because it's also on screen for a couple of seconds at a time. You know? This is a very fast exchange we're having. Like I said, we're only 33 seconds in. Everything I've talked about has been like basically 2 seconds of fight choreography. From Blake swinging, from Adam jumping close to her, swinging, her jumping away, and then doing this, it's been 2 seconds. I'm not gonna see this. It's too fast. So let's keep going with... So yeah, they go through the motions of their swings. This is actually a cool pose for Blake right here. That is cool. This is why I would see having us close to the ground, because we can... She has cool boots, let's show that off. But the rest of it just doesn't make sense to me. So she comes in, this is it. This is, You ready for the peak moment of this fight? So Blake comes in, and now she's, like, hyper crouching again, because the camera's in her way. And Adam's looking kind of cool over there. That's a pretty cool pose for him. So he comes back in, now ready to slash at her again. So her pose landed with her back to Adam. My dog came into the room. That's why I did that noise. So she has landed with her back to Adam. So what does she do? Does she jump away? Does she do anything? No. What she does is she will bend behind herself to block his strike. She bends behind to hit the strike. Now think about what she's doing. She is a zigzag right now. She is squatting, first of all, because remember, she landed in a crouched position. That's why we're so close to the ground. And she's doing this back bend weirdness to block this attack from him. Which would also mean her arm is all bent up out of shape. The thing is, when you're gonna... You can break your characters to do cool things. But this isn't a cool thing. It doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, we get a really good look at her face, and I think blocking a hit from behind is a very cool maneuver, but this isn't a cool pose to take. This isn't... If you're gonna... The point of a combat is spectacle. We want to wow the audience, you know? This doesn't wow me, it confuses me. She's broken, she's bent. If you're gonna do that, break the geometry below her. Have her... Yeah, she's crouched, just move her so she's standing. We don't need to see that as the audience, but as an animator, move her body so this looks as good as it can for a moment like this. You know, this doesn't look good. This weird, like, twee, like, I dropped my teacup hand. I don't know, why did we go with this? So yeah, she blocks that hit, and she lingers in this pose for so long. And the longer we linger, the more broken she looks, and she doesn't look good. She's having a bit of a time herself, you know? So yeah, everything about the crouch, close to the ground, the broken spine, it's all just very dumb. And she lingers in this pose for so long, it's like, well, now Adam is going to come in for another strike. Are you going to block again? Nope. She's moving out of the way, evading. I guess she just moved out of the way. I thought he was coming to hit her again, but nope, barely missed. Just pulling, again, a lot of wasted opportunities. They're so close to each other, but they're not hitting each other. They're not trying to hit each other. So he comes in, and she's just like liquid. She's just like Gumby over here. Coming in with another big attack. What happened? So, arm behind her, fully outstretched. Sword swinging. Next frame. Arm is now in front of her. Sword over here. Did he not swing through her? Was this a jab? How did it get over here? Where's your slat? Was it an upward slice? There's a lot of weirdness, you know, from sword back there to sword right up here. It's hard to see. It's hard to understand why this would do this. So she evades. She's evading. Look at the splits maneuver she's in. I don't know why we're so close to the ground. Like, it's not helping anything. Why are we so close to them and the ground? So they're recovering. Bringing up Blake. Coming in closer to him? What you doing, Blakey? What's your move? Where are you going? Back up over. Are we gonna do another spin jump over him? Yup. Sure are. Ooh, a kick. Ooh, it's a kick. Why did we do a back kick? Why did you do a weird... Why do you keep putting your back to him? What a weird kick. He blocks it with his sword. No, he doesn't block it. She just full on kicks him. Wow. Right there. Ugh, yeah, okay. So, if we're this close... So, the highlight here is her face. If we're gonna have a moment like this, we can make her look cooler, guys. Like, I know she's, like, emotionally, in the scene, she's going through something. She's not supposed to look cool and composed, but we could, like, jazz this up so she doesn't look like this. Flying. Also, she switched sword hands at one point in time. When we started the fight, her sword was in this hand, wasn't it? No, maybe not. Anyway, so she keeps going with the follow-through. Oh, we've changed angles now, because now Adam has to say something. So let's see everything that we just analyzed. Let's see it in full motion. Slice, land, liquid crunch. So all of that is very short. A lot happens in a very short amount of time. And that's something that modern RWBY has really a problem of, is it's too frantic. There's like maybe, 5 swings from both characters in such a short amount of time. Chop it up into instead 2, and make those 2 look really good. This is too fast for your eyes to truly register a lot of it. And it's not fun to watch, you know? It's essentially like watching, like white noise, you know? Like, it's something happening. You can jangle your keys in front of your face, and you can see this too, but it's not really fixing anything. It's not a selling point, you know? And not every single combat moment has to be a selling point, but this is the long-awaited Return of Adam fight, you know? And this is a bit of a weird way to start it off with all of this happening, you know? This whole little section right here. We could have done more. And I think having the camera here was a bad choice to begin with. I think that was their biggest killer. It is impressive, I will say, that it's all one shot. Like, they don't cut away. It's just one solid animation movement. I would have loved to see it from a different angle, because it's too close. I don't know why it's so close. But from a different angle, you probably would have seen just how completely broken their legs get during the fight. So that's probably why they put the camera so close. Let's hear what they have to say. Boop.
You have to come into my life and ruin everything.
Why did you have to come into my life and ruin everything? Everyone who says that Blake and Adam never dated, how do you believe that? everything his dialogue does is so heavily implied that they had some sort of relationship. And this is like key abuser behavior, you know? When abusers do things, these are the things they say. They blame their victims for everything and then make it seem like it was their fault, you know? His dialogue is fine here. It's good dialogue. Maybe it's because it doesn't hold your hand, and a lot of Ruby's dialogue has to hold your hand first. Water break. Stay hydrated, everybody. You gotta drink your water.
You stalked me across Anima. I don't want.
Yeah, because my mic is picking up my my desktop audio. I bounce around with Blake. You see that?
Ruin everything.
You stalked me across Anima. I don't want anything to do with your life.
Okay, so then, yeah, that's more like abusive behavior stuff. You stalked me. I don't want anything to do with you. You came after me. So, this is a good exchange. I don't know why it's in the middle. Like, we've just started the fight. Like I said, it was like 2 seconds worth of fighting. More back and forth. This could have been said during this back and forth that they had, you know? But, whatever. We gotta have this little talky talk moment for a second. Drink your food. Yes, you got it, Eric. Alright. So yeah, he comes back in. Let's see what that is. So they were separated for their little talk. And she sees him coming in. And, masterfully, she turns her back on him once again. She keeps turning her back to him. And I don't know why. Like, and I know... we could talk about symbolism, like, oh, she's trying to leave him. She's trying to turn her back on him, not just combat-wise, but in real life and everything, too. But, it's an interesting choice, and she doesn't usually do that kind of thing. Anyway, she blocks the hit, and, ooh, he spins his sword. Did you see that in his hand? Zoop, 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 zoop. It's just floating. It's going there. Full-on 5-hand maneuver. Look at that. Wow. Just going, spinning in his open palm. And while he was doing that, Blake is doing a front flip. She does have cool shoes. I like the shape of her shoes. It is cool. Doing a flippy, slashy maneuver. Okay, so he was doing that, and he ends up blocking her hit that she's doing here. She's gonna land on the rail. We could have spun more in midair, because she kind of goes into upright a little too quickly, but it's fine. As she lands, he's gonna slice. She's going back into a crunched up frog, and she's gonna jump up and away from his hit. As he's coming in, he's sheathed his sword to store up the power. And now he's coming in to hit her with it. And she jumps up and backflips to evade his semblance-charged strike. And as she's backflipping, we cut to this new angle to see her bring up a shadow clone. And she will use a shadow clone to ascend higher. See that? See that? Do you remember when Ruby was first coming out, people thought her shadow clone thing was an animation error. Do you remember that? That was crazy. It jumps up. I do love it when she uses her shadow clones. Oh, that's funny. So it faded in the prior shot. We can see it fading away here. Right there. It's fading away. But in this shot, there it is. Still here. So, that's fun. That's interesting. She jumps up, 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 and now we see it's fading away. And as she's going up, 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 she will cat bounce off of this, because she is a cat, and do another shadow clone, back up. I do think it's really cool when Blake uses her shadow clones to ascend this way. Basically, like, just kicking off of her old clone. I wish has she used her semblance a lot recently? I can't remember the last time she really used her semblance. I guess she used it to beat the Aesops. But, we're talking about, like, there's been a lot of discussion about characters getting upgraded semblances. I want Blake to get an upgraded semblance, because it's high time she does something more with herself, you know? So, moving forward. That one's also going to fade away. The other cool thing about her shadow clone is it lets you really linger on the pose she was in before. And it's usually a pretty cool pose that the shadow clone gets stuck in as she moves on. So up she goes, and she got up here really quick, and she lands, and Adam will have magically teleported up here. Now, I know Adam is a fast character and all, but he just wholesale teleports during this fight. And I think it's a little dumb how much teleporting Adam does. So we don't need to see this, because she just looks around, and when she turns, Adam's gonna be there. And I wanna see this, I wanna watch this. You see? You ready? Oh, right to the face. So he did take advantage of the moment. I'll at least give him that. But yeah, just ow, that sucked. Just straight up to the cheek. Aw, damn. It is a cool reveal, because you see her getting away, and you expect Adam to be, like, a little bit slower, but having him show up here, I think, makes sense, but he'll do it again later, and I think it makes less sense. So there he is, being his asshole self, grabs his sword. Alright, and she jumps up. She's gonna swing around to him, which I think is also cool. I mean, this is a cool set that we're working with our fight. There's a lot of things to, like, hook onto. We go up and down in elevation and stuff. So I think it's really cool. I wish we played around with it a little bit more. We tend to just be really close to the characters. Here she comes, coming in with a strike. Now it's her turn to be totally exposed. You just slash at her and you'd get her right in her tum-tums. She comes in, hits him. That's a good hefty hit. Knocks his sword, because he was blocking, knocks it down and out of his other hand, leaving him exposed. He's all exposed right here. This works better. We're not so close, they're not as crunched up. They have room to expand. Adam comes in with another strike. Gotta give her, like, this arm maneuver right here first, though. Coming in with an upward swing. I would have gone with a slash, but you know what? Adam, you do you. And she blocks that hit with a parry, smacking his sword. A lot of sword smacking in RWBY. A lot of, I hit your weapon with my weapon. And I think it's fine, but I think it's also very simple. It's lazy. We could do more. That's a nice pose. This is a nice pose for Blake. That's something if you do go frame by frame. I love going frame by frame through fight scenes. I've been doing it for a very long time. That's why I did this series, because I like going through frame by frame and seeing weird things. And then sometimes you'll just find really cool poses, because if you go to, like, the wiki or something, they'll have screenshots, and lots of times their screenshots do look good, but also, like, they'll miss things, like this one. That's a nice little, like, the flow of her ribbon right here. This is a good pose. So go through it frame by frame and just see what cool stuff you can find. So anyway, they go through with another strike. Yep, bouncing off of each other again. Like I said, it's simple, but it's a little boring. Like, it makes sense. It's not bad, but it is boring. A parry would be more interesting, you know, rather than just a block like this. Have her, like, shimmy away. Have it be a shadow clone. Have him move backwards or something. This, especially in rapid succession, it's not really doing anything. Like they should have changed their combat tactics by this point, because it's not really doing much. Alright, so our camera's moving down. When our camera moves like this, because we were in a pretty consistent, like, height this whole time, now we're moving down, and it's to frame Adam. He's doing an extra big hit. He hasn't actually really done anything different, his character model, but because our camera is moving, it is giving the implication that something is coming from Adam. So this is a good use of camera. If you're going to have your camera, it's your camera is a character too. Your camera is one of the storytellers with your story. So how you want to frame something can tell you something without having to use dialogue. So we want to say, this strike will be big. We can just move the camera slightly. And you can save yourself some animation at this point, because you don't really need to do much with him. That's more than anything that what he was normally doing. The camera's doing all that for you. So he comes in. Now that was a hefty hit. So hefty. that Blake has to now struggle with it. And then we're going to get a really cool shot where they're both going to reach forward and grab each other's arms. So we've had several moments in RWBY where a character and another character will have their swords clashing together as like a battle of strength, and usually it's very stupid. This is very, very cool. This whole section with them doing this is really neat. This is how you would do it, because it's not just, slash your sword together and then glare at each other, like how so many other fights do. This one is like a battle of strength. It's like when you're doing, picture Dungeons and Dragons, for example, or something like that, where you have a contested strength check. This is Adam rolling his strength stat versus Blake rolling her strength stat. And think about it that way. And if she can't beat him, because she knows he's probably a little bit stronger than her. They're both very fast, but Adam has like a bit broader muscles. He probably has he's built for like top heavy strength. She's built for like bottom heavy strength. Like she runs better. She has better leg strength. He has better arm strength. So in a moment like this, Blake probably knows that he has a slight advantage over her. So he has her arm in his other hand over here. And so she grabs hold of his, the actual handle of his sword rather than his arm, because she knows if she grabs his arm, it's going to be stronger. Her best bet is to try to finagle the sword out of his grip, and so that's what she's doing here. And you can even see in her, like she's thinking about it. We cut to this shot to see her face to show that she's thinking about it. If we are going to cut to a character's face, this is a good moment for it, something like this, where we can see her planning, like she's not just going through the motions, she has to, figure out what she's doing here. And that's a good thing to do in a moment like this. They have their contested strength attacks, doing this. Yeah, you can see here, this is a better angle of his hand on her wrist, her hand on his sword. So there we go. And yeah, she ends up losing the proverbial D&D strength check that we were talking about. She ends up losing because he is a little bit stronger than her. So she tried, she failed. And that's something that is important with combat, is sometimes you try something and it doesn't always work out. And sometimes the villains or the antagonists of a moment will have a moment where they get the upper hand. And that makes it all the more interesting when we're doing that. Because if it's just like, oh, easy, the characters win, then when there are moments like this where they're gonna be in peril, there won't be many stakes, or the alternative will be like, well, suddenly, why are you so weak? You were much stronger, why are you suddenly so weak? So things like this is good to have in shows. Gotta drink more water. Hey guys, we've been going for an hour and I'm a minute in. Alright, so he throws her. She does a really cool, roll to evade it. It would look cooler without her cape. Her, coat covers her up a lot, which is another problem with Blake. Blake's combat naturally has her rolling around and doing flippy dippies. She's all over the place. She's an acrobat. She's a ninja. She flies around. She is very active. Her limbs do a lot of things. The coat just covers her up more often than not. So I want them to get rid of the tails. Let me see the girl. She's gonna look cool. Alright, so here she goes. She's gonna do, this is Adam teleports number 2. This time it's really egregious. Nice backflip. Doing a whole ass backflip. That's a thing with RWBY, and it's been true from the very beginning. They just do flips all the time. They love doing flippy dippies. Adam actually does an attack. It's hard to see, but he slashes at her, and she avoids it. It kind of looks like his hit wouldn't even reached her, but it would have. It's just the framing that they have it on here. Flying up, and she gets here in seconds, and he's just suddenly up here now. There he is. He just teleported. He just straight up teleported. It would have been more interesting seeing him chase after her and be just as fast as her, rather than have him just teleport here. The Adam jump scare wasn't necessary. So, and then he has her, and then they go flying over the edge. And once again, the cat does not land on her feet. Just straight up on their faces, both of them. They talk for a bit, blah, 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 blah. And then we can skip over that part. Okay, so, end of the episode, big cliffhanger. Moving on to the next episode. So here we go. This is another volley. So I have issues with this whole section. Because there are moments of it that should look very, very cool. I'll just play it in full speed for you to see, just for a little bit. So, this should look cool, but it's so hard to see, isn't it? Like, it's almost hard for your eyes to keep up with everything that's going on. So, it's, on one hand, it's because the characters move very quickly. They always have. But the other thing is you might think Adam is the only enemy during this scene, and you're wrong. The other biggest enemy is the camera. Like I said, the camera is a character too. The camera is a storyteller. Ruby has a very bad habit where their cameras tend to just move around too fast. And I see this also a lot with a lot of Ruby fan edits, where it seems like perhaps maybe the camera is like stuck to one point. Like they have a thing that tells them have the camera be stuck to, like, Blake. So as Blake is running around and flopping around and doing, like, spins and things in midair, the camera is following her. So the camera is always bouncing and moving. Your eyes will follow her a lot better with a static camera. Now, cameras can move, and it can be interesting. We talked about it before with certain shots in those earlier segments. But if your camera's moving around a lot, it actually makes it really hard to really see the thing the camera is focusing on. Wild Pilot! Thank you! You already donated so much! Make sure you save some for yourself so you have like, food and stuff. So yeah, if your camera's too active, it can be a detriment. And I think the other biggest thing, though, the camera's a bit of an issue with this moment. The speed is a bit of an issue, but both of those could have been alleviated. I think the biggest problem is actually this background. These trees are too dang dark to see. They're too close to the blacks of Adam's jacket and the blacks of Blake's, like, hair, and then she will lose her jacket later on. It's too close to these color palettes. It's very samey, very monotone, you know? So what could we have done to fix this moment? And I was thinking about it over the weekend because I was getting ready for this video, this stream right here. Something we could have done is just all snow. Because we're already in, like, a snowy place, there's snow in other places, just have it be covered in snow, basically. Like, maybe a glimpse of tree in the background here and there, but just all white, because Adam would pop very well with his black and reds, and Blake would kind of blend in a little bit with her white coat, but that would kind of lean into the point of the scene, because it starts out and she runs away. She's trying to evade him and just run, and he even outright says, "Can you do anything other than run?" So the idea would be she's trying to use the snow and her white coat to escape, but then there's a moment midway through where he slashes and her coat gets destroyed, and now she doesn't have her coat anymore. There it is. This moment right here. So this would be the moment. If this was all covered in snow, now that she does not have her white coat, she can't hide anymore. She has no other choices. She has to stop, and she has to turn around, and she has to fight. There is no more, she's tried escaping multiple times, and now she knows it would be impossible with how much black she wears on the snow. I think that would be not only an easier way to make it easier to see the characters, but also it would play into the theme of what this whole combat moment is, which is Blake stops running. Blake needs to learn to stop running, and she stands and fights. As it is, these trees just are doing nothing. Like, yeah, they look pretty. These sure do look like realistic trees, which is an interesting choice for a thing that's designed to look like an anime. But, you know, they're not horrible looking, but they're not helping the scene, you know? So it also doesn't help that, like, there's so much shadows on the ground, too. Like, it's all just very dark. It's a very dark moment, and it makes it very hard to see. So, okay, let's go through what their actual volley is here. Okay, so here he comes flying in. Yep, more slashing of swords together. More of this. Yep, more of this. More Gumby Blake. Is this doing it? This was also, like, remember, this was a new episode. We had to wait a week, and we also had to wait through the first half of the other episode. Like, the stuff with Ruby and company stealing, fighting Cordovan's mech. So it took a long time to get back to this moment, and we started out with just sword slaps at each other. Something very similar to what we just saw with them being on this, like, the tower, This volley from here is very similar to this volley that we have right here. It implies that they've initiated fighting, which is fine. We don't need to start from the very beginning of the fight. But if we're going to initiate fighting right from the get-go, we could have played around with it a bit more. Especially because this ends up being a really big scene for Blake as a character. So she comes flying in. She's going to do like a weird handstand thing. Landing on her hands. And she's going to push herself off. And goes flying through the air. Again, and she's on screen for just frames at a time. And a lot of it, you can't see her face. The yellows of her, like, boot right here isn't standing out. You can't see her face. This is just mush to your eye. When you're watching at full speed, you're just not gonna see this. So what's the point? You're not elevating anything in this moment. It's a lot of tree, tree. Here she finally is. Ugh. Finally, our hero. Stretch Armstrong coming in to save the day. So she's landing, and Adam is rushing towards her. We can tell because the camera is coming in close to her. Again, with the crunch up, I don't know who was in charge of choreographing this fight, because they were obsessed with having the characters be crunched up in these tiny crunched up squats, and it's so weird. It doesn't help anything. What was the point of this? What the hell was even the point of this? Are you kidding me? This whole moment of her doing her stupid handstand front flip, and it's just to see her, like, land shittily? That was it? That was the point of that? What did we do this for? If you can cut to a different angle to see someone do a handstand and then land, do something cool with it. This did nothing. This was an unnecessary cut. If it would have just been one shot, rather than cutting away to a different angle, if this was just one take, just pull the camera back a little bit, it would have looked so much better. It would have been easier to follow, and you can make the argument that the intention is that it's supposed to be disorienting, because Adam has her caught off guard, blah, and it's fine if you want to do something like that. You can imply a moment is disorienting for a character, but it shouldn't be disorienting for the audience, and the audience member shouldn't be able to follow this whole moment. We barely saw her face. The trees were on screen more than anything else. She doesn't look cool. We don't even see Adam coming in until we cut to a different angle where suddenly he's here, right next to her. It added nothing. It has added nothing to this moment. Pulling the camera back and having it be one full shot would have looked cooler. If anything, actually, if we're gonna do this, play with the trees. Have the trees kind of like maybe obscure a character for a moment, to see them jump out of the way of someone else's hit. So if you want to build tension that way, that is a way to do it. So then you think, is there something happening behind the tree that I can't see? Are they safe? Let's say there's a tree in the way and Blake is behind it, and then we see Adam slashing at it. For a moment, you're going to be like, did he hit her? And then we'll see her, like, jumping out of the way, and she goes past the tree that was obscuring her. We can do that over and over again with all these trees that are right here, to build tension in a way, but still keep everything in frame and in focus and easy to follow. So, he comes in, does his strike. Ooh, a shadow clone has appeared. Suddenly, there are two Blakes. Do you think it would look cooler if Blake had, like, an effect on her when she did a shadow clone? I know there's usually, like, a piano musical cue for it. Do you think, like, a shimmer would look cool? I don't know. Thinking around with it. I mean, it's better than glowy hands. So he comes in, and he kills her shadow clone. So, there's that. I didn't even know she made a shadow clone. It's on screen. Let's count the frames. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's only on screen for 8 frames. That's less than a second. What's the point? If you're gonna, that's the thing. If it's on screen for so little time, what's the point? It's not even like it's a bad combat move. Like, choreography-wise, this could have been very, very cool. But it's too close, it's too brief. We gotta have more. Like, even just, like, slowing things down a little bit would have helped. And then we, like, just moving close to Adam, I guess, to give him a little pose moment. It's fine to have moments where you pose for the camera, but I don't, like, I don't know. Thank you so much, Carter. Thank you. You're awesome. So many awesome people today. Everyone's so awesome today. Pat yourselves on the back, because you're all awesome. We're doing so much cool stuff today, guys. So, yeah. So we get to Adam. He's coming in for the kill. There goes Blake, bouncing away. So this is bad. So we had Adam filling up our screen. He is the threat. We are pointing out this moment with him posing and filling up the screen to really display the threat level, and now he is nowhere to be seen. I assume he's off screen over here somewhere, but Blake is reacting to nothing that was initially everything. So if you're gonna have a moment like that where he fills up the whole screen, there should be some sort of follow-through. At least like a slash, like a semblance slash effect for Blake to be reacting to. And here she goes. She's jumping away from nothing, and then she's gonna start running away, doing a little spin. There he is, coming in to slap her out of midair. Yeah. Again, it's all just so dark, especially the leaves up here with the trees. I can't see anything. Like, it's hard, even while it's paused, it's kind of hard to see what your guys' limbs are doing. I can't even see Blake's limbs, you know? It's hard. We could have done something more with this, especially because there's already snow on the leaves of these evergreen trees. Make it just more intense. Make this... You were so close. It's such little things that they could have done to elevate these moments. And that's the thing that kills me, is that it really would not have taken that much to boost these things up a little bit. Hey, Zero. So yeah, he smacks her down from midair. He comes in. Oh, yeah, this whole volley. Yeah, okay. So remember what I was saying about how good it was with their first clash of swords? This is a good example of a bad one. So this, it doesn't even... They use this as a thumbnail, too. It's bad. Again, crunched up, squat Blake. He's coming in. We just zoom in close to her. And I guess the camera is acting as basically Adam's momentum for this moment. And as he comes in, they smack swords together. And it doesn't look great. Because this is obscuring everything. I cannot see. This should be a cool moment where I see this cool badass character's cool badass face, but instead all I see is a big glowing of stupid effect that obscures my whole screen, and by the time we actually see her face, it's on screen for seconds at a time, you know? That was it. That was all I get to see her face. Less than a second. So if you're gonna do that, like, let your character pose, let them be cool. It's totally fine to pose for the camera. Ruby was built off of posing for the camera. Think about the red, white, black, and yellow trailers. They have their cool moments where they pose in front of the moon and whatnot. That's fine. Do that. They makes them look cool. And this moment's dumb anyway, because we cut then to this far away shot as, like, their strike echoes out. This isn't adding anything. Like, if this is a moment where they're both thinking about what to do next, it's not helping. It just highlights how empty this scene is. This is very bad. If you wanted a moment to cut back from them, we could have done, maybe have, like, the top of trees and birds flying away, like a flock of birds. You know, having your characters just be tiny on screen, this is doing nothing to help me. Tiny on screen and in the shadow of a tree. Like, we could do something more with this. Let's always look back and think about how could this be improved. If you can improve it, do so. So yeah, we cut to this, and they're doing this like power struggle thing. Adam has a free hand. and he is doing nothing with it. It's obscured behind Blake's face here, but he has a free hand. I think it's currently holding his, like, sheath. He could just smack her in the side of the head, because both of her hands are right here, blocking this hit. He could just hit her, you know? There's also the thing to say that this is a moment where Adam is not working 100%. Adam is not fighting to his best fighting abilities because he's gone crazy. So there are moments where it's like, I would understand why this hit he could have taken he doesn't do, because he is blinded by rage and insanity. He's not actually fighting at his best fighting capability. But yeah, this is doing nothing. We don't super close on the characters to really far away from the characters. Super close, really far, super close. Like, I don't know why we've done this. It doesn't make anything better. It doesn't look cooler. It doesn't help the characters. It's just a choice someone has made. Why does he not swing with two hands? He sometimes does, but it would make more sense because his sheath is a rifle, so it would make more sense for him to hold on to his rifle. He pushes her back with the sword hand. He uses this hand to push her away, rather than using his other hand, which is doing just nothing over here. You can actually see that, I think. Yep, just holding his rifle incorrectly. So the barrel is facing away from Blake. Could have just shot her. Did bad. Doing bad choices. Yeah. And then we cut to a different angle. Yeah, this whole shot of the close-up of them and Blake being like, golly gee, what am I gonna do now? This doesn't help. It doesn't make, like, it shows that she's thinking and she's trying to figure out what to do. But we could have done more with this parry moment, and I wouldn't be complaining so much if everything leading up to this moment didn't also feel like, what are we doing? You know? So, he pushes her away, and then we have a couple of strikes from them again. Again, more giant, glowy, screen-filling effects. Smack. Big glow effects. What did they smack? I'll never know, because the glowing effect is too big, I can't see. So, we move, we keep going, he's follow through with the strike, really close to each other, like they're right up on each other, you know? This is a death-defying, that's the thing. Adam, his whole maneuver during this fight is to be right up on her, and her whole maneuver is to try to get away. Once again, it plays into the theme of him being an abusive ex. He is invading her space, he's an invader. She is trying to get away from him. There are themes here, and they are doing these themes well. Hello from France. Thanks. Stay cool in France. I don't know what the weather's like in France right now. So yeah, crunch up, weird moment of crunching up. He really gets, like, a tiny. He balls himself up here, and I think he's gonna do a backflip to hit her. Doing a backward swing is always so confusing to me. Like, ugh. That's a face right there. Doing a backward swing, and I think there's gonna be a shadow clone. Yeah, here's this weirdness. Blake is making a shadow clone. The one with the dead face is gonna be the clone, and he's gonna end up hitting it. Here comes Blake, separating from her clone. Yeah, sliding just away. This is her, the real one, sliding just out of range of his slice here. As she evades, filling up this area, because this whole half of the screen was taken up. She's going to take up this half of the screen now to evade. The thing is, with his slice, it's hard to tell which one it hit. Did it hit this one, or did it hit that one? Because I thought this was our clone. Which one did he hit? Let's see. He's vaulting over it. Yeah, it looks like that's our clone. Yeah, because it's not moving anymore. So he didn't hit it the first time, I think. He's doing these pirouette, like, spin things, and I don't know, like, he's hitting this multiple times. She's evading out of here. There goes the clone. So, yeah. Again, distance. Now they're far away from each other. They were right up on each other. Now there's that distance. And they've also swapped sides of the screen. Adam was over here. Blake was over here. Now they've swapped. This is a good way to swap characters, by just having them vault over each other. Yeah, that sounds like a basic thing, by having, if you want your characters on different sides of the screen, have them move over to the other side of the screen. But people fuck that up. They get that wrong a lot. You'd be surprised. It's called breaking the 180 rule. Look it up. It's fascinating. It works especially well in horror movies. If you ever feel like something is weird and you are now uneasy, but you don't know why, odds are they broke the 180 rule, which is a character just moves to the other side of the screen between two shots. I love it as a filming technique. Right. Now, she wanted to go that way, but Adam is in her way. How is she going to get past him? I don't know why she wanted to go that way either. I think she's lost trying to get back to the others. Here he comes. He's very much the aggressor. He always takes the initiative. Blake will only strike when she evades or parries or blocks something. She'll block an attack and then she'll hit him. He is always moving first. You know, he moves first for combat. She is still trying to run. So he's coming in, hits another big old glowy effect. This seems like it could be a really cool pose for Adam. Too bad I can't see him because of that big old glowy effect. The glowy effect could just be slightly translucent too, like slightly see-through, and that would fix things. Or at least have it be a color. Because that's another thing. When you're doing this big glowy effect, have it be Adam red. You know? A slight red shade. To show that Adam was the one who did the attack. And then if Blake does it, have it be a slight purple shade to show that Blake was the one who did the attack. This white is not doing anything, especially against all the darkness of the rest of the scene. This is going to be the only thing I see. And this is just an effect. And so it's just going to feel like I'm just looking at starbursts the entire time that I see this in, like, full motion, you know? She's spinning. Ooh, wait. Is that an animation error I see? Look at that. Look at that. Adam's, like, butt cape is fading through the black of Blake's sword here. Fascinating. Do you see that? That's funny. I love animation goofs. They're so interesting to me. Yeah. He's, like, full-on obscuring her whole sword thing with his butt cape, even though he's, like, supposed to be behind her. They probably just... like, I don't know, chroma key is the word that comes to mind, but I don't know if it's called that in animation. They probably just did, like, a goof there. In fact, you can see, like, her sword is actually layered behind his back here, too. Ooh. We're finding animation goofs. You guys ever just, like, go to the wiki and look up the inconsistencies pages, or the animation errors pages for each episode? They used to be really on top of those things, but a lot of the wiki really, like, stopped being up to date a whole lot as the years have gone by, and I don't blame them. They probably had more important stuff to do than write up wiki pages for Ruby. So yeah, we do that. We had our follow through. Here comes Adam slashing again, just more glowy effects. It just covers up the whole screen. I think in these moments we should have prioritized Blake's face. Because Adam's face is obscured with his cloth, and Blake is our hero. I would have liked to see this, but from a better angle, where Blake's face is still very easy to see. Because apart from the white glowing effects from their sword strikes, the yellow in her eyes is the next brightest thing in this moment. So that'd be the next easiest thing for my eyes to see. Oh, here comes another example of Blake's cape ruins everything. Everything is just gone. You don't see anything. It's just cape. The whole scene's just cape now. There he goes, slicing again, doing his whole maneuver. And now she's gonna run away some more. Yeah. Ooh. Do we want to watch gun transformation? I do. When Blake was revealed, when the Black trailer first came out, I had the hardest time figuring out her weapon. Like, I would just watch the scene where it transformed over and over and over again. And I was like, I can't wrap my mind around it for some reason. Like, I see what's happening. I was like, I don't understand. So yeah, blade folds in, does a cocking maneuver, like it cocks a bullet into the chamber. Chamber opens up. Now she's in gun mode. Oh, I'm ready to gun the fuck out of you. Actually, what she's gonna do is she's gonna, like, throw it. Yep. To, like, launch herself. Launching Blake is coolest Blake. Spider Blake is best Blake. Spider Cat. It's Spider Cat. Gamble Shroud is not a very good sword. You are correct, Stereotype. The black trailer was very confusing. It didn't help that the enemies were also black. Everyone was just wearing black the whole time, and so it was very hard to follow. It's also the only trailer where we have multiple protagonists, I guess, is what you would call them. Or at least multiple people that we're following the action of. So yeah, she runs away, spins around a tree, doing her run. Running. Can you do anything besides run? I love quoting Adam, but in like a whiny baby voice. What does she even see in you? Wah. Alright, so here he comes. He fires his sheath at her. And I think... What happened? So he fired his sheath at her. I know that. Oh, I see what's happening. She's throwing her sword to like hook onto another tree. It's just this big gray blur, though. So yeah, she's throwing her sword to hook onto another tree, but his sword will interrupt it and throw it off course, so it doesn't, so she can't, like, propel herself forward. Yeah, that was, it's just too quick. It's so hard to see what's happening, you know? His sword's on screen for nanoseconds at a time. But yeah, she recovers with the branch, does a flip maneuver, he gets his sword back, he's ready. This is actually a very good shot. This, like, head-on shot with Adam charging up, it's very smart. Because we start up right here, like, we get a good look at him with his weapon and everything. We get a good look at the clearing and the distance that we have going on. And then the camera pulls back very quickly, and we see him getting ready. And so, as we pull back, we're showing the distance between, like, us, the audience, and him, and having him charge in and close that distance very quickly. The speed lines help. But this is just a nice, easy way to convey someone's speed very, very well. So, good camera stuff right here. So yeah, Ruby's not wholly incompetent. There are good camera moments. And then we got trees, and let's count the frames with trees. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, there's Adam coming in. 9, there's Blake. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. This is a bad shot. So everything that was good about Adam coming in really quickly in that prior shot, this one, this is horrible. It's showing them closing the distance. It's too dark to see. Even his reds, which should be the easiest thing to see in this moment, too dark. I can't see anything. It just looks like trees. We built up all this really great momentum with Adam, and then that payoff for that momentum is just a very beautiful postcard of some nice anime trees. If they wanted to do this, we should have followed Adam more, or, I don't know, if they were easier to see, it might have been cooler. This tree obscures Adam too much. Blake kind of just comes out of nowhere. This is a bad shot. We could have done so much more. I would have rather, instead of cutting to this, when Adam does his charge forward, the camera cuts to behind Adam. Like, the camera is stapled to Adam's shoulder, basically, and then we see him quickly reach Blake. Like, as the camera stays attached to his shoulder. Like, the camera is part of Adam. And then see, like, Blake quickly coming in. Like it's just zoom, and then Blake's right there, and he slashes at her. And then we could have had the camera move off of him and pull back to, like, show this angle to see what's going on with her, like, pretend the camera was attached to this, and as he reaches his swing, the camera detaches and pulls way back off of them, and then we get this nice wide angle of seeing her coat falling off of him after the slash. That would have been a much better use of our momentum, rather than the trees coming in and just being a shot of trees. So let's see him cutting off her... So him cutting off her coat makes no sense, because it's, like, attached with this, and it's, like, wrapped around her and hooked into her belt and stuff. And there's no way he could have cut the coat without also cutting her. But we just see this moment, and you know it's an intense moment because everything goes into slow motion. Ooh, slow-mo. So So he cuts her, and then we can see the coat kind of doing something. And yeah, there's like coat shards over here. And as it falls, like, there's no way, it seems like he just cut the clasp that was going across her chest. There's no way he would have cut just the clasp. He would have cut parts of the coat, or at least her body to some degree. It's just always been a confusing, like, it's a fine way to, like, get rid of the coat from her model. Also, her arm just goes through the sleeve. She doesn't pull the arm out of the sleeve. It's just, her arm is in the sleeve, and now it's not. Her arm phased through her sleeves. But it's fine. Like, okay, so clothes on 3D models, any kind of fabric with a 3D model is gonna be difficult to begin with. I wish it would have just been, like, cut up to ribbons, you know, instead. Just slash it up a bunch, rather than have it be all in one unit still, and just phasing off of her. But yeah, there goes her coat. And this is actually probably interesting, but they probably did. There's probably 2 different Blake models. This is probably a Blake model, but Blake's actual model is invisible, and it's just the coat is visible still. And it's probably more easy to see with this follow-up, because you can see the way the coat bends here. It's following the shape of her ass, but there is no ass because Blake's not supposed to be in it. But that's probably what they did. There's probably an invisible Blake, right, like, wearing the coat still. Like a shadow clone, basically. So she comes in, she kicks him. Again, it's just hard to see. Especially now that the coat is gone, they're all just hard to see. Their limbs are basically invisible. She kicks him, pushes off of him, flies through the air. As he goes and he lands, she'll fly in and land. And this is actually a very cool, very, very cool moment for Blake. She looks awesome. If we're gonna have her crunch up, have her kneel. The squat thing that they keep doing for this fight is so weird. It looks weird for her. As she lands, she rights herself, the coat flutters to the ground, and now it's probably, like, just fabric. There's probably no Blake model in it anymore. It falls to the ground, and it does still obscure her. That's so stupid. Even when she's not wearing the coat, the damn thing is covering her up. Because especially sucks because it covers her up the moment she's doing her first strike. Like, we can even see the glow of her gun right there. There's the glow of her gun. She is firing. This is the moment she's finally not... She is the instigator in this moment. She is the one taking the initiative. This is a big turning point. She's not running from Adam, finally. She's finally stopping and facing him and really taking the moment to fight him first. And she lands a lot of good hits on him, too. And the stupid fucking coat is obscuring it. Why? Why? Have it fall behind her, not here. Don't cover her up, god damn it. As she fires, there's the coat covering her up. God, she's only on screen for like 3 frames without the coat. As she fires, and he blocks 1, and I think he takes 5 hits. I was trying to count it the other day. So he lands, landing from this. Her bullets are yellow now. Was her bullets always yellow? Thank you, Excalibur. Thank you for the $5. The coat does have more glory shots than Blake. So he lands. He's gonna block this 1 bullet seemingly on accident. So it hits his sword, and as he recoils from that, he's just gonna get just battered. There goes a wild bullet just going into nothing. Blake, canonically, cannot aim for shit. But yeah, here's this one. Hits him right in the chest. Yeah, I don't remember her bullets being yellow. It would make more sense if they were purple, wouldn't it? Or like, rather than this orange glow around the yellow, have that be purple? Whatever. This comes in, also hits him. See, that's a good use. Like, this glowing effect right here, because her bullet is already yellow, I know this is her bullet. This is a good use of a colored glow effect to really emphasize the impact. Especially with bullets. For sword strikes, for, like, blocking sword hits, it's not as good. It could have been done better. But yeah, there's 1 bullet, or that was the second bullet that hits him. And then he gets ready, and he sees more coming. Now that he's been battered, he strikes away another one. And as he's posing like a dork, he hits the next one, and then he'll get... nope. And then I think he'll block the next one too. Yeah. Then he blocks another one that didn't get to reach him on screen, really. Boop, boop, boop. There's that. This is a moment. He is realizing she's not running away anymore. This is a moment of realization for Adam. He sees, like, the thing he's been wanting to do, a real fight. This is him seeing it's gonna happen. Because it's not Blake's back, it's not Blake running, it's Blake facing him down, weapon drawn. This is a big moment for her. One thing, I wish, like, this... So here's some trees over here. I wish this was the waterfall. Because they jump out of this, and now they're suddenly in, like, the waterfall area. And it really just feels like, oh, you're playing Mortal Kombat, and then you fall through the floor, and suddenly you're in a completely different area. I wish we would have seen the waterfall, like, over here, or something. Because I really just feel like, and suddenly, there's a waterfall now. Okay. They jump in, they land, they pose... More standing around posing. I like this shot to show us what we're working with. Like this scene of like the ledge they're on with the two waterfalls. I wish they played with the environment a lot more. That's another big thing RWBY does poorly, is that they don't play with their environment. There's a lot of little things, like with the waterfall, you know? With this ground, kick up some rocks and stuff, you know? But whatever. That'd be a conversation for another time. So, alright. Big ol' pause in combat. Let's go through everything that we just saw. Because that was a lot of, like, flailing around and stuff. So, the beginning of the fight. Yep. Jumping around, bouncing around. Good ol', like, pause. So it's action, big pause. Ready to go again. Okay, action. Here we go. And then the running. Now we're just running away. We're evading. Alright. So, but that is still action. Running is still action. Action doesn't just mean fighting a character. When people say they want more action in RWBY, like, it can be something like this. It's not just fighting a person. There are many other ways to have action in a show. So she runs for quite a while. Talking moment. You know, gotta tease her. And it's a good moment to tease her. You know, he's really bringing up the thing that has been her biggest weakness the whole time, which is you always run. You run from Blake. It's her biggest issue. She talks about it before in Volume 2 and other moments. Running is her biggest problem, and him teasing her with it in this moment is a good way to, like, make her feel like he's the one in control of the situation. And then that's why she'll stop, turn around, and now she has to fight. This is another pause, okay? Big pause. We've stopped the action. We're now just standing around. So it was action, back to standing around. And then we gotta do this whole posing moment here. It's good to pose. You want your characters to look cool, but this takes too long. Let's go with the moment, here. Right here. So we're at 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Okay? The next time, they'll start fighting. Because they gotta jump over here to the waterfall. They gotta land. We gotta see the scene. They gotta pose at each other. Bam. 2 minutes and 45 seconds. That's like 20 solid seconds of them just, like, not doing something. And it's especially crazy because if you remember, like, from the beginning of the video, this volley, our first volley after this moment, this is 2 seconds. So it's seconds at a time we're working here. And you would think, like, 2 seconds of fight versus 20 seconds of posing for a fight. You see where that math isn't adding up? You should probably lean more towards catering to the cool-looking parts of a combat moment, rather than the cool-looking parts of, I'm ready for my combat moment, you know? So Adam comes rushing in. Let's go. Blake is ready. He comes in with a slash. She blocks it with her sheath. Her sheath is something I always forget she has. And don't worry, I'm not the only one who forgets she has it. Blake will forget very often too. Then we get some water. Is everyone doing good in chat? You guys having fun? Is this insightful and interesting to you all? Am I still live? Someone shout out in chat. Make sure, am I still going? You all just got really quiet for a second. You guys see me? You guys hear me? Is everything happening? Adam / what? What you talking about? Yes. Okay, good. Alright. I'm just double checking. Just making sure. I was so wrapped up in talking about this that I was like, oh, is everything working? Oh yeah. Okay. So Adam comes in. Again, big glowy effect. I can't point it out every single time it happens, but I also definitely will. Good. Thanks everybody. Thanks. Okay. So he comes in, slashes at her. Ooh, coming in hot with the dab. Blake dab. Add this to the collection of accidental Ruby dabs. Hitting him hard with it. Ooh. Alright, alright. What was the point of this? Why did we cut? That's something about this next volley that we're gonna have. The camera cuts so often, and I don't think it helps the flow of the fight. You know, if the camera just pulled back and maybe just like spun around them a little bit, it would look much better. Instead, we cut to this angle now, which I don't think helps. We're leaving behind a shadow clone. He comes in, he kills it. This clone is on screen for seconds. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. 4. It's on screen for 4 seconds before he kills it. 4 frames before he kills it. It adds nothing. And you can tell they needed to really, like, draw out its death fade, because it probably was, like, adding a weird blink effect, so they gotta make this fade last longer. He comes in. She also barely went away from it. Why did you make this clone? You added nothing to this moment. You could have just had her parry this slash, and nothing would have changed combat-wise. So he sees coming in. She's coming in. Oh, smacking his sheath, his rifle sheath. All right, okay. So there is a moment where something very cool happens, and I never see when it actually is. So he comes in, slashes, spinning around, getting that Blake, getting that little pissy Blake face. Alright, we're gonna spin. Ruby characters love spinning. She comes in. He's gonna slash at her? Slash at her? Barely evading. Ooh. If she was... Ooh, close to hitting her. And now he brings up his gun. He's gonna get her. He's got her dead to rights. This is much shorter now. His sheath is much shorter. This used to be a rifle. This used to be, like, very long. Yeah, it used to be long. It used to be a really long rifle. And now it's suddenly short? I bet it's because they had the framing wrong. I bet she was too... We can even see it. Like, even here, you can see it. Yeah, it's so long, it peeks out behind him. And now we're coming up here. Slash, and now it's short? Why is it so short? That's so goofy. That's so silly looking. Fire. She is totally dead. He's blatted her to hell. Nope, it was a shadow clone. I think that is a good, hat trick maneuver. But usually, every single other time she's ever done a shadow clone, we see her leaving it behind. Like, we can follow her as she runs away. This is just kind of like, and suddenly she's over there. It's a good framing. It looks great. It's a cool move all around. It just, following, like, the canon lore of how this character works, it doesn't quite add up. But I'm willing to forgive things like that. I'm not always a big stickler for, like, this is how your semblance is supposed to work, blah, blah, blah. I'm so willing for things to go awry, or be wonky, or be like, wait a minute, how do you do that? If it makes it look cool. And this looks cool. It's a great reveal, having her be behind the head, because you see the shot clearly, because the glow of his bullet is so prominent, it's hard to miss. Like, you see, front and center, her face, his bullet. And so you're looking at that, and you're like, OMG, he hit her real hard, and then you see the fading, and you're like, it was just a shadow clone. She's fine. But where is she? There she is, right there. Her pale skin peeks out behind the shadow clone as it dies away really well. And he notices just barely in time. Probably because she yells. Everyone always yells when they're fighting. And look, now it's long again. Now his gun is longer again. I don't know what the hell. Weird stuff. Comes in. Is she gonna hit him? Nope. They're gonna evade each other. This is the moment. Okay, so this is actually incredibly cool, and I wish they showed this off more. He comes in to stab at her, and what she does is she takes her own sheath for her own weapon, and she's going to sheath his sword into it. She's going to basically trap his weapon inside of her sheath. Here it comes. Comes in. This shot adds nothing. Cutting in close to his sword, it only discombobulates the viewer, because it's also such a short moment on screen. It's on screen for like 4 frames, maybe. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it adds nothing. We could have just cut to this moment instead. We didn't need to see her sword guiding his sword into the sheath. So it comes in, and yeah, she locks it into her sheath now. This is the second time she's basically tried to take his sword away from him. The first one was when they were doing their, like, sword clash right there. This is her taking his sword. She has it now. And she actually will succeed in taking it from him, if I remember correctly. Yep, pulls back with it. Now in her sheath. Her boot. This is adding nothing. A wide shot would have conveyed this much better than cutting to her shoe suddenly. You know? Like, I would believe she is already struggling against him. I don't need her shoe kicking up dust for 100 frames to tell me that. You know? Again, we could have done something more here. Her shoe is not the thing. So yeah, and now suddenly she's in midair. I would have loved to see, rather than just her boot, I would love to see her actually, like, following up with that other shot of her with it in her sheath. So let's see it all in real time. Like, her getting the sword into her sheath and kicking off. That is hard to follow. Right? Because of how fast it is. Let's do it again. Even knowing what happens there, it's very fast. You would, especially with how, if you thought that he had just missed her, that would be totally understandable. This shoe moment is adding nothing. It's just a lot of camera cut. The more you cut your camera, the harder it is to follow, because your eyes can't keep track of it. Let's talk about the motion. Let's talk about the motion of where your eyes are looking. So here we go. Blake runs in. She was the last thing we were looking at because of the good moment with this part, with her shadow clone dying. So our eyes are on Blake. She's already on this side of the screen. Our eyes are over here, and she comes in. Our eyes are still on her. So she comes in. Our eyes are on Blake. Here we go. We're right here with her. Comes in with a slash. We might be seeing more with this slash. We see she's reacting to something. Our eyes are here. Our eyes are here. What is she doing? It's on screen. We see she's doing something. Evading or something. Now what am I looking at? My eyes were here. Now it's just dark. It's all suddenly very bright because it was a lot of darkness on screen. She was the brightest thing because of her skin color. And now everything is bright. And so your eyes need to readjust to the brightness of the screen, and then in comes his sword. So my eye wanders over here because it's like, what am I looking at? What is this? Is this a slash? Is it his sword? Is it something else? And as I'm trying to figure this out, as it fills the screen, suddenly, because like I was here, this was what I was looking at, this moment, especially the crossing segments, X's, your eye automatically tends to go to the cross segment. So as the camera moves forward, I'm right here. I see Blake. And that's totally fine. Blake is something that I would want to see in this scene, except that the point that they want me to be looking at is his sword. But I'm not looking at his sword. I'm just looking at Blake. And as it comes in, this thing is cutting across her. My eye is slowly going to this. She's looking that way. This is coming in this motion. Your eye tends to go over here now. But before I can even really get a good look, it's also hard to see that it's in her sheath. Because of the shape of the sheath, it kind of looks like it's just behind her sheath. A lot of her sheath is missing now too, because it usually has like a wide edge to it. There seems to be, it's like I'm seeing something here, but I think it might just be evading her. She might be blocking something. And even if I can see what it is, yeah, where's the rest of her sheath? Usually there's like a smacky part on the side of it. So I'm over here, I'm looking at this, and once I finally get the sheath in view where I can see what's happening, and I'm figuring out what it is, it's gone. And now it's just, I'm back to Sky and Boot. Now I have to go over here. Why, my eyes are just going back and forth across the screen, and it makes it hard to follow. When your eyes are going back and forth, think about the flow of where your eye pattern is. You can bring your viewer's eye through a motion, and this is just cutting up motions. So let's look at it all one last time, all together, and think about where your eyes go. It's disorienting, because it chops you up, it moves you around, it doesn't flow well with the action, and it makes it hard to know what has happened. And last I saw, that sword was in his hand. Then there was a boot filling up the screen, and now she's flipping through the air, and it's very easy to miss that she even has his sword in her sheath. It's very, very easy to miss. It's also, because again, a lot of this is darkness. Why is this giant rock right here? This rock is making everything very hard to see. If this rock wasn't here, she would just be silhouetted against the blue sky, and it'd be a lot easier to see. But instead, it's just a big rock filling the screen, and everything's dark, and everything is very dark, and she lands, and you could see that his sword is in her sheath, but if you didn't know to be looking for that, you might not notice it. There I went a good long while after watching this fight before I ever realized she actually has the sword in her sheath. Because usually, what we do is instead we look at faces. I'm only going to be looking at her face in this moment. Especially because I haven't gotten a good look at her face since the fight started, because it keeps cutting back and forth to things. So I'm not going to notice that the sword is in her sheath, I'm just going to notice her face. If they wanted this, they could have had this closer to her face, or had her holding onto like the handle of the sheath of his sword. But as it is, it just kind of looks like she bounced away from him and he fell. And you never would have noticed that his sword has been taken from him. Especially because now he lands, recoils, now he's firing at her. Why is your gun so short? Your gun used to be long. When did you get a sawed-off shotgun? It's so goofy looking too, because this is supposed to be the sheath for his sword. It looks so dumb. He fires, she's suddenly midair. So he lands, he recoils from his thing, and he fires. He fires in her direction, and the last time we saw her, she was squatting, remember? Because they keep squatting during this fight. He fires up at what? Apparently Blake, because she's now suddenly in midair. You know, that makes no sense. She was squatting. She was on the ground, squatting, and now she's in midair, and with the darkness of the damn tree behind her, this could have just been Sky. She was in an angle where we could have just seen Sky. With this stupid tree and this stupid rock, you can barely see her legs. Her limbs just become invisible. All I see is arm. She flips, and I'm just trying to figure out what I'm looking at, because it's all so dark. She spins in midair. Again, his sword is in her sheath, and it's so weirdly dark. Like, even the red of his sword is hard to see. If it was a bright red, it would be much easier to notice. Yeah, his bullet flies. She spins. She's doing a spin maneuver to avoid it. And then she does this weird thing. So she just did a spin. We saw it, right? We all saw it. She just spun, and now she's in midair. And she just Rocket Man propels herself at him off of nothing. She's like, is now a rocket launching in his direction. She didn't kick off of anything. She was just in midair and then flew in a direction. So she comes in with a slash. Now this volley is actually cool because the camera is finally pulled back far enough and stationary long enough for me to actually see what the hell is happening. It would also be hard to notice that Adam doesn't have his sword here, because he uses his rifle like a sword. He slashes up with it. Oh, it's not in his hand anymore. I wonder if he'll grab it. Yep, looks like he's grabbing it. Gonna shoot her shadow clone. Maybe? The shadow clone's gone already. I guess he fires at where it once was. Here she comes in to get him. Now he's the one backing away. You see that? She's closing the distance, and he's backing away. The power dynamic of this fight has changed. She has taken his weapon, she is taking the initiative, and he has to back up. Especially because now, since he just has his rifle, bullets are his only option, because he doesn't have a sword on him anymore. And guns are harder to use the closer you are to someone. Even something like a pistol. But his isn't a pistol, despite how freaking short it is now. She slashes to block some hits. Comes in to close the distance. Blocks a kick. I like it when characters do things that aren't like a kick, you know? Like, it's not a sword strike, it's a kick. Or it's a punch, you know? These are weapons too, you know? They're limbs. And it's fun to play around with that. Ruby tends to do that a lot, and it's really good. Blake does a flip. You can tell this is going to be a clone because it lingers in midair for a little too long. That's always the tip. If it's like a few frames too long, it usually becomes a clone. He hits it, and she flips out of the way again. She's gonna close the distance some more. The rifle's longer now. You see that? It keeps changing in size. His rifle. She does a flip, and we punch in. Emphasize the power of her kick. Also, this wide angle, while fine, there's a lot of dead space over here. Punching in shows... So keeping it a wide angle before was fine, because we were moving in with distance, there was a lot of jumping in the air, a lot of slashing happening. Punching in clears up all this dead space that we have, like over here, getting them more center and filling up the screen a lot better. And now we emphasize the power of her kick. Once again, she has the power now. She's the one in control. This is the first time she has the upper hand during this fight. She does a flip, a cool flip. Shadow clone up over him. He still slashes at her, though. And there it is! It's long again! It keeps changing! She flips up over him, slashes at her. She uses her sheath to block the hit. Flies in and lands, and then we cut up to a close-up. This is a bit of a sloppy cut for his close-up, but after this long take that we just had, we don't need to start the whole thing over again. Yeah, it's fine. Coming in. It's showing that Adam's getting serious now. We've seen throughout this last little volley that he does not have the power in the scene. Now, getting this close-up, we see the anger in his face, and he's coming in. He means business now. Blake blocks the hit with her second sword. This hand is over here doing something. He grabs it. He grabs the other hand that has the sheath with his sword in it, and with his rifle, he smacks it up against her sword here, and she's blocking him with it. And now they're gonna say something.
I wouldn't have to be doing this if you...
I wouldn't have to be doing this. Again, he's just an abuser. He's an abusive ex. It's coded so much like he is an abusive ex. He is a narcissistic, egotistical, abusive ex. He did not hit her, maybe, while they were dating, but he is emotionally abusive. Everyone who says that that they weren't dating, I don't know how you hear this dialogue and you don't get that. If you had just behaved. Come on, guys. That's scumbag 101. do as I say. I am your ruler. I am your commander. You should have, if you had have done what I said, I wouldn't have had to hit you. You made me. That's abusive behavior. He's abusive. So anyway, as he's doing his anger moment here, this is the best shot we can see with his sword in her sheath. Now that he has both of her, he has her hand here, he's got her here, closes the distance, again, like we proved earlier, he is stronger, like, with his torso strength. She has good kicks, she can run for days, but torso stuff, he is stronger than her. He pushes her back, knocks her off kilter, and now that because his sword is now open within her sheath, he closes the distance and he can let go of her hand and grab his sword again. So now he has the power of the fight scene all over again. And he pulls his sword out and he actually launches her sheath away. And as she's reacting to that, realizing, dip, that was my sheath, fuck, she notices, cut in close. Big ol' reaction moment. I don't think we needed to cut in this close to get the reaction, but it's fine. You know, it gets the job done. Comes in and just smacks her upside the head. Big ol' wallop right to the temple, and she goes tumbling away. So that was that. That was the fight. Part 1. You're selfish. You're selfish? You should have just listened to me, but you're selfish. He's abusive. I don't know. I don't understand how it's a debate in the fandom as to whether or not Adam was... he's an abusive guy. He's emotionally manipulative. Cuts the distance between them. A lot of action lines going on here. I don't know if it was necessary. Hits her away. Now it's the opposite. So she was in control. She was closing the distance. He has his sword back. She doesn't have her sheath. He has control of the situation. You know, she's tired also. You're delusional. That's a good line. Aaron does have pretty good lines. He comes in, and I won't talk about this part too much because when Twins Inc. reviewed this episode, everything she had to say was perfectly worded about how this moment with his stab could have been better. And she does it in a way where she compares it to the decapitation fake out from Volume 3. So, if you want to hear, like, the best deconstruction of the stabbing scene, watch her video. This does not read as SDC. I cannot see the letters SDC. It looked like sock. I thought it was like SO3 or something. It S0, maybe like a 60C. It does not read as SDC. I only knew that because if you watch like the credits for the next episode, it has the concept art and it shows the SDC logo. Flawed. Dumb. I've made an edit. You can also see it in Twinsing's video where I replaced this with the Schnee emblem, the like snowflake emblem. It would have worked much better rather than the SDC. Yeah, 502. It's all kinds of things. It did not read well. Whatever. Missed opportunities. Blah, 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 blah. We're thinking, I'm not alone. So we'll get into this, but first I have to go to the bathroom. I need to do a potty break. We've been going for a couple of hours now, so I'm gonna hit over to my starting soon screen, so you can look at that some more. I'll be back in just a second. Take this opportunity to go to the bathroom yourself, get some beverages or snacks or stuff. We're almost halfway through with this. Yang's about to enter the fray, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Hello, I'm back. Everyone get your stuff ready? Alright. Let's keep going. I'm not alone. Here she comes. Woo! Alright. It's a good hit. Bam. It just it's like when Family Guy falls downstairs, you know, just all in one. Just a good hit. Just sends him going. Goes tumbling. Goodbye, Bumblebee. I'll miss you. Underutilized. Could have done more with the motorcycle, gonna say. There it goes. And here she is. The girl. The hero. Blondie. Yay. This is a good moment. Okay, so Adam looks up. He looks up. And this is the first time Yang is seeing his face. And we see that in her face. She's like, oh, well. She registers. That's his face. That's Adam. Okay. I know what I'm doing here. So. You. And then she, apparently throws a bullet during that moment. If you're gonna, I'm under the impression that if someone's gonna throw a bullet, if a bullet is gonna be shot at, we should see it being fired first. And suddenly he gets hit. Well, whatever. It's a cool moment. The whole thing is a cool moment. She is ready. Boo.
Okay, catch your breath for a second. I can hold him off.
This is nice. It's a bit of okay, sure. It is nice having a moment where it's just Yang versus Adam and letting Blake rest letting Blake rest for a second. So, yeah, it's nice. I wish Blake, moved aside, but whatever. You could call it convenient or contrived, but it's fine, you know? We have unfinished business. Blah. Wah. Yep, we're all getting ready. Again, the posing around, getting ready for a fight. Here we go. It's happening. This is where Adam really starts getting cool during this combat. So, like we were saying earlier, when he was running through the trees and he closed the distance on her, right there-ish, you know? This is gonna be similar, where we're gonna see his speed on full display. Just gonna zoom in! Zoom, zoom, zoom! Yeah, the quicker someone can close a distance, it conveys speed very well. It seems like such a simple thing, but so often in the world of RWBY where people move too fast to see, this does a good job at displaying someone's speed. And we also get a good look at that big, wicked smile of his. This is now face mode, Adam. We gotta see a lot more expressions from him during this fight. He did a lot of mouth shit before, because that was the only part we could see. Now we gotta see a lot more of just, his expression, which is fun. Yeah, closes the distance, comes in with a slash. Oof. See that? Okay, so his sword slashed. Slash. Right there. It's right there. There it goes. And then here is the impact effect. Rather than following his sword, it comes slightly after. Both work. Both will work. And then she dodged it. He comes in and does another one. This one follows it. So this one implies this slash was maybe faster or more powerful. And this time she blocks it with her gauntlet. I wouldn't. But whatever. Again, big yellow. This is something with the white glowing effect. Yang is layered over it. So she still looks cool. If you're gonna have the white glow, have it be behind the characters. You know, not over them. You know? Because then we can still see how cool they look. Gonna move forward. Big ol' follow through. Big attacks have big follow throughs. That's the thing. If you want it to really feel like it has an impact, really linger for a good moment on the aftermath of a big hit. It's because that'll really convey its power. Comes back in with another one. Again, a lot of blocking from Yang. Ooh, this is our first moment of seeing this. Adam's upgrade. Ooh, look at that. Second sword. This is the first instance of his second form coming in. And that's where that second sword is coming from. So this isn't an animation error. This is his essential version of a shadow clone, which is this shadow double coming in. which I don't know how the specifics of this shadow clone of his works. I don't know if they ever bothered figuring out or they just did it because it looked cool. Again, I'm fine with something happening just for the sake of looking cool. But yeah, I especially like how his hair and like the red of his little butt cape still stick around. That's good style right there for a semblance. If you're wondering how to make a semblance look cool, really emphasize. Like, we all knew the silhouette of the Black trailer with Adam was the thing that made him look so cool in the first place. Take that silhouette and literally just make it his semblance. You know? That's good. This is smart right here. Also, this is something us, the audience, and Yang, the character, was not prepared for. Because this is the first time we're seeing this. So if you want to catch the audience off guard and catch the character off guard, this is a good way to do it. Because we could have hinted at this upgrade to a semblance before, but it would have ruined the surprise. Neither me, the like viewer, or Yang, the character, was prepared for this. And so it's like, whoa, that leaves an impact. That's interesting. Comes in with this new shadow hit. Ooh, the glow! Look at that glow! Glow effects is cool. If it's a slight glow on something, it makes it look cool. Especially paired with like something that's solid black. And you can see it charges up, getting ready for the next hit. And it's interesting, this one freezes. Like his Shadow Devil does an attack, and then a new one pops out instead. And comes in instead. And rather than having be like one clone moving forward still, it's multiple clones and then they fall back into each other. And he was frozen the entire time too. It's like freeze in place, move, freeze in place, move, freeze in place, and then they fall back into each other. And then like readopt the slashes, like basically move in reverse to what the clone did. So like, this clone does a slash this way. Adam will move forward, and when he gets to this one, he will slash back into it, you know? And it's really cool looking. They do their volley against her, falling back into each other, and then he comes in, and they all come back together. It's a cool little effect that no one was prepared for. But it leaves an impact. And you might see it, and you might be like, whoa, what just happened? And they linger on screen long enough for you to really get a good look at the Shadow Devil. If you're going to have a character, specifically, like, if you're going to do something like Ruby, where your character has shadow doubles or body doubles or something, you want to make sure you have plenty of time to see them. Otherwise, it might just feel like there's an animation mistake. If you have plenty of time to see them and the effects that they do, like with Blake's body doubles, they fade away when they get hit, you want to make sure we can see that really well. Because it also not only just displays what they can do and how they work, but it also looks cool in the long run. Yang cocks her bullet. A fun fact, I'm going to release my video for analyzing the Yellow trailer later this week. And in the video, I say I don't remember if Yang ever cocks, like, we ever see the shell of her bullets anymore. And then I was capturing this footage for this stream, and I realized that she definitely does. So. Alrighty, she keeps moving forward, coming in. That's another one. So the screen slightly fading to all darkness. The screen never goes all dark, which implies he's not working at full power, but it goes almost entirely dark, and that implies there's a lot of strength behind him. So we know with Adam's semblance that the full force semblance is that full silhouette that we saw from the Black trailer, and also in Volume 3 when he cut off Yang's arm. That's his semblance in full force. So we know almost getting there is almost full force. So, even though he never truly gets there during this fight, which again implies that he's not actually fighting to his full capabilities, he's not thinking about it, he's not waiting that little extra to get the full amount of power into his strike, he's just working frantically. That's why he loses, because he's not thinking straight. He's frantic. Coming in with a big, cool, flippity-doo-dah hit. Like I said, a lot of Ruby characters do flips. Sometimes it looks cool, sometimes it doesn't. You just gotta figure that out. Comes in with a big ol' attack. The more effect a strike like this has, the more it implies the power behind it. Ooh, spin. Doing a spin maneuver. I hate this. Ruby does this constantly. And not just the show Ruby, but Ruby Rose herself with Crescent Rose. She does stupid spin things all the time. And I think it looks dumb and bad. Seeing the actual weapon turning in your hand would always look more cool than this effect. Anyway, he throws it, and that's why it's spinning so much, because he's throwing it, which does look fine. Specifically, this is, like, one of the coolest parts here. This whole section with Yang is so awesome. It does this, like, almost chainsaw grind. Thank you, anonymous person, for donating $10. You're awesome. You're also awesome. Yeah, it does, like, a almost, like chainsaw kind of grind against her, as it, like, digs into her, and you see the power of it, like, knocking her back. Like, she's able to deflect it. Like, you see that. Her hands move apart, and it bounces off of her. She succeeded in deflecting it. And then he comes in. It's still spinning. And he kicks it back into her. She punches it away from herself. And that momentum bounces off of it into the ground. She pile drove it into the ground with that punch. He comes in. Thank you, another anonymous person, for donating $5. He comes in, grabs the sword, now that it's sticking out of the ground. Look at that confidence in his face. Look at that. Look at that. He knows what he's doing. He's prepared. He's coming in, grabs it, does a slice, a big-ass slice as he grabs his sword. She backflips out of the way, does a jump maneuver, flips over to evade. As he was doing that, he fires a bullet. Where's his gun? You see, it's like crunched up, like, next to him. That's wacky. That's weird. Adam's like see-through right here. Do you see that? Whoa. That's weird. It must be like a compositing error or something. Or maybe he's not see-through. Maybe it's just the color of the boulder behind him is close enough to the color palette on his body that it looks almost see-through. Anyway, you can see he's folded up his arm next to him, and he fires at her with this arm up in the air, leaving like an opening for his bullet. As she's backflipping, he fires. It's a little hard to see because he's so crunched up, and her body is the thing that's taken up the most of the frame, which is fine. I think he missed the bullet. At least he tried, you know? We spin the camera around them. He does a kickflip maneuver. We gotta see Blake looking bored as hell back here. As he spins, he rights himself. Now they've traded sides of the screen. Blake is looking tired. I don't even think she's looking at them either. Alright, and now he's gonna do his triple strike against her. She sees he's getting ready to hit. Whenever his sword goes in and he does this pose, she knows something's happening. She's dealt with this before. She's been having nightmares about this. She's ready. She's prepared. So she's bringing up her arms to block the hit, and then he does his quick triple strike. He doesn't even pull this. It happens so fast that we can't see the sword actually leaving the sheath, which is a cool trick with animation. They didn't actually animate it that quickly. It's just a play on our eyes. The slash implies it's come out and back into his sheath so fast, but we can't see it between frames because they don't actually do that. It's a good trick. Like, we know what happened. He is slashing at her. He's just too fast to see. That's a good animation technique right there. And then he'll do it a few more times. Slash, slash, full on slash. She recovers from that final one. Sorry, drinking water. Charges in, coming in, ready to hit. She evades another slash from him. That's the thing with Yang. With Yang versus Adam, his sword has such a distance compared to her gauntlets. And yeah, she could fire at him, but she knows if she fires at him, he's gonna block it. He blocks every single bullet that comes his way. At least from what she knows of him. He comes in with his slice. She's still ducking and dodging. Weaves around him. and comes in with a punch. Now he's kind of in the way. This punch could have been better. We could have pivoted the camera slightly to get a better look at her hitting him. It's not horrible by any means. And it does have a cool, like follow-up with this moment where we see her from, like, the reel of her punch after she's hit him and he's tumbling back. We could have just done something a little bit different for the wind-up, you know? Camera pulls back a little bit. She's coming in. Bullet punch. Yeah. That is the one thing. She knows he'll always block a bullet, but if she hits him with a bullet, point blank, you can't block it then. Especially if she manages to hit him in his, like, chest or something. Comes in with a kick. No, not a kick. Just adjusting her foot. Comes in. Hit. Combat. Hit. Smack. Jeez Louise. Smacks him right there with her fist. And Yang, when she does, like, a fist punch, rather than that normal white glow effect, it'll be, like a slight fade glow effect, you know? We do see that he is slashed. He seems to have missed her. Like, she seemed to have ducked underneath it. This is a good pose for Yang. Yang looks cool here. Yep. Hit. They've each landed a few shots on each other now. Comes in with another bullet punch. Big ol', like, wallop. Big ol', like, sound boom wallop to imply the impact of her bullet. Again, she looks cool. Yang tends to look cool a lot when she does things. Coming in with an uppercut. Now that's some good. This is a good effect. Because her arm was here, and now suddenly it's here. Like we were doing with his, like, speedy slashes before. Thank you, anonymous person, for donating $10. It slashes up into him, right into his jugular, too. Cool way to using this effect to imply the uppercut without having to see her arm actually go through the movement, you know? Uppercut. Hell yeah. Big spin, big glowy effect. It looks awesome. A really cool pose for her. This is a good stretch, like, in terms of squash and stretch. A reaction to a hit is better for a squash and stretch rather than leading into a hit, you know? Knocks him away as she poses cool, like a Street Fighter character. Coming in as he's falling in midair. Kick. You see that as she lines that up as he's falling? Big ol' kick. And there's that, like, sonic boom, like, impact wave again. This looks better than the white glow that we've been seeing, you know? This implies the power. It implies she hit him so hard he's breaking the sound barrier. It looks much cooler. It implies just as much power. It doesn't obscure anything. And it doesn't bring my eye away from the combat. It just enhances it. This is very good. Goes through, follow through. She manages to land from her Shoryuken. Adam lands. I wish we could have seen him landing too, but that was only so much we could do. We do get to see that he does land, and she is now ready and prepared for him. Now we're going to go into something that's not as good. Coming in for the slash, she blocks it with her hand by grabbing his hand. See, this is the thing. We were talking about Adam has more, like, upper torso strength compared to Blake. Yang has better upper torso strength than Adam. You know, Yang is a big, buff, beefy girl. She is stronger. Her arms and shoulders are stronger than Adam's arms and shoulders, because this is her emphasis, so. But in terms of, like, leg strength, Adam would be middle, Blake has better leg strength, and Yang has the weakest leg strength, because she prioritizes the arms. It all makes sense. There is a balance of, like, he is, like, the mid-ground between the two of them, in essence. She grabs his arm, yanks him around. She's gonna do this awesome maneuver. Just punch him right in the back. Just right in the kidney. Just annihilates his kidney. This angle makes his head look tiny compared to hers. Whatever. This is a fun shot for Yang. Right in his kidney. His appendix has exploded. Grabbing his arm like this to pull him open. Pull him closer to her to close the distance, and to also open him up to, like, reveal his weak spots here, his mushy center weak spots, because he's not wearing armor. You know, none of them are. So your torso tends to be the weakest part, because that's where all your organs are, you know? Comes in and elbows him again, other side, just walloping him. Not as good of an effect. This tends to obscure more than anything. I would have liked to just see the elbow actually hitting him. If anything, this kind of obscures the, like, follow-through. But, good impact. His face also really sells the, like, oof, ow, my bladder has exploded. Follow-through coming in, and she twists him around. You can see this, her arm. She's twisting his arm backwards over him. And then she's also making sure that his sword doesn't come near her as she's holding his arm up, because this is his sword arm. Coming in with her other hand. Big ol' kick with the knee. Knee him right in his chest. Just done a good ol', like, wombo combo onto Yang right here. Really just annihilating him. This is the most damage he's taken. Not only from this fight, but in the whole show. This is the most damage we have seen Adam take from a character. He goes flying, all crunched up, broken up from her attacks, and with this other arm that she was getting ready from before she did her kick, comes in, lands it right on his face. Perfect. Great combo. Just a fun combo from this right here. This whole section. Yang versus Adam here is probably the best part of the whole fight, in my opinion. It looks great. Great camera work, great moves, great effects. Cool little follow through, and then I love this part. Oh my god, she does this like super punch, like the super fast. He blocks it. That also makes it really cool because he is still very fast. You know, she hasn't beaten strength, but he has her beaten speed, and he manages to block the hit. And she does this awesome like multi-punch like jackhammer maneuver. And it's really cool. There's a behind the scenes for Ruby. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. There was a behind the scenes for Ruby for every episode of Volume 6. And after this episode's behind the scene moment, they talked about the sound design of this. And it was really cool. I love sound design. And one thing Rooster Teeth actually does do very well with all their shows is sound. They are very good at Foley effects. Like, their Foley artists are very good. So yeah. Comes in with a big ol' hit, and we're playing around with cheating here, because there's one arm, there's a third arm. To imply speed, you could have like something happen just like between frames. They're gonna do a different way of implying speed by having many of the same thing within frame. It doesn't always work. Ruby has failed at doing this before. In Volume 2, when Yang pulls Ruby into a hug during the dance, Ruby does this, like, arm flaily thing, and there's multiple arms to imply she's flailing a lot. It doesn't work there. It does work here, because it's much faster. Which is really the only secret. Like, you want to be able to see the punches, and you want to be able to see that it's happening quickly. Multiples on screen show you that, but having them fade away very quickly also implies the speed of it, and it makes it look really, really cool. Like, all these attacks and just bullet casings coming in everywhere. She's just relentless coming in. Like, all these things. And then land with a really, really big strike from her. But also, he's still blocking it. He's been blocking all this stuff. This has just charged him up this whole time. Let's see this whole volley in real time. Coming in hot. Here comes the cool stuff. Yeah. Coming in for this nice pose maneuver. Yes, great. Wombo combo. Just destroying him. Yeah, yes. Good stuff. It's just a fun moment. It's a nice long segment with a lot of really cool choreography, and the camera cuts at times where it was probably very beneficial for the animators who are working on the scene, but lingers on shots long enough for me to see all their cool moments, for me to see the full extent of the choreography, but isn't placed in a way, like the camera isn't placed in a way where I'm obscured from certain things, and it was just a good moment. Moving forward, she does a big old kick to him. Big ol' leg spread kick coming in with this one. I wonder if she's gonna kick over him to land or try to hit him with it. Ooh. Oh. Oh, God. Oh, God. She hit him so hard he became a turtle. Good ol' hit. Good ol', again, that effect. He's layered over, sorry, I hit my table. He's layered over the effect. That's a good way of doing it, because if this was covering him up, it wouldn't look good. The fact that he is layered over it, I can see it. It really, it displays the impact. Cool. Cool stuff going on here. He goes flying, and she lands. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, again, a weird squat, a bit of a squat pose. Blake has been in the same pose this whole time. And to be fair, we're not looking at Blake. Like, no one's really looking at Blake during these scenes. So it's fine that she's in the same pose. She's basically just a PNG back there, for all it's really worth. Like, Yang fires a bunch, he blocks it all, that smile. This is what he was waiting for. Like, this buildup of punches is just building up his semblance. And we see that it was something he wanted to do, because we see him initiate his new Shadow Clone semblance, like, before he charges out, and this is him, like, getting ready. You know, this is him charging up for a big attack. So, comes flying in. The Shadow Clone, like, one goes in front of him. Like, it goes Shadow Clone, him, other Shadow Clone. So they don't always move in the same pattern, which I think is fun. They go circling her. We don't need to see the circling frame by frame. It is cool. Like, the way it's so fast, it's hard to tell if the clones are behind him, ahead of him, where he is exactly. Even though he looks very different from his Shadow Clones, it is kind of disorienting, especially with how it's circling Yang. I think they lessen the impact by having this moment where she, like, looks over, and now he's gonna be, like, suddenly in midair. Now, this is something, I was talking about how his semblance looks cool in the Maya engine. All dark. This is it. This was the moment of all darkness. And they kind of ruin it with this. It's a, like, energy blob that happens now with his semblance in the Maya engine. I think looks goofy. I don't think this looks good. I think, like, he's done several slashes, and they have implied impact very well before. But this sort of, like, big burst flame-esque motion, I don't think, because, like, the whole screen went black. This should have felt like a huge hit, and it kind of just feels like it sort of pushes her a little bit. And maybe it's just because the follow-through of the attack seemed to have so little impact on her, but it was a bit of a disappointing moment. So let's listen to this horrible dialogue, because this is really dumb.
His semblance is like yours. He absorbs energy through his sword, stores it up, and then sends it back when he's ready.
That's stupid. So everything about this is stupid. This is one of the dumbest moments in the history of RWBY. First of all, why did Adam stop fighting so Blake could explain Adam's semblance to her? We could have explained his semblance at any point in time leading up to this. We had so many moments, especially where Blake and Yang were together on the farm. Could have been a great time to explain his semblance. This adds nothing. We're just now have to suspend our disbelief that Adam is patiently waiting off screen so they can have this moment of conversating, and it's really dumb. Like, I don't like it. It's very bad. Second, Adam's semblance, despite having a whole moment to explain it, they don't explain it well. So Adam's semblance could absorb any hit, not just from that one specific sword. It could have been anything that absorbs, like she sort of said, he uses an object to absorb the hit. Quite frankly, I don't think we even really needed to explain his semblance in this scene. I don't think it adds anything to the fight. It doesn't play into how they beat him. This just is a poor moment, and then I hate so much Yang's response. It is so dumb.
He gets to dish out damage without having to feel it? That's just cheap.
That's stupid. That was one of the dumbest, forced, weirdest fucking lines in the history of the show. Like, it's specifically, ugh, that's just cheap. What do you mean? Cheap. What do you mean, Yang? What the hell are you talking about? What, did, like, Miles and Carrie see someone say, that's cheap, on, like, a Reddit thread somewhere? They're like, we'll talk like the kids do, because we're hip and young, and we're desperate to still look like we know what people are talking about nowadays. It's just, it's like in volume 8, I think it was, when, Fiona talks to Joanna, the two of the Happy Huntresses, and she's like, you were flexing on the news station. It's like, stop, Miles and Carrie. Stop throwing in modern day slang into your anime. You don't do it good. It never sounds right. Anyway, this is dumb. This whole segment's dumb. We all knew that. Alright, so now we can go. Now it's ready for attack time. He waited patiently for Yang to initiate the fight. He's just sat around, listened to them do that horrible exchange of dialogue, and waited for Yang to come to him. Just bad. Just whoever wrote that into the script, bad. Grabs his sword, ready. Now that we know how his semblance works. Comes in. Big ol' slash. She's flying in through the air. Blake is missing. Someone called the police. Someone has gone MIA. Blake is gone. She should be somewhere around here. We also, if you pay attention, we're next to 2 waterfalls. There's the second waterfall just off screen over here. Blake was over here talking to Yang. They were in this area. Now they're over here. Okay, let's go. Yang, flying through air, sees he's coming in. She punches a bullet to push her body out of the way of his shot. Of his, like, the swing of his sword. That's pretty cool. It's hard to see, though. Again, like, the darkness. He's hard to see, necessarily. It's a bit of a weird angle. And also the fact that we cut to a different angle here. Like, we're in a slightly different camera position. I think moving the camera rather than cutting to a different angle would have worked better. Yeah, and she's just in midair for no reason in this shot. Like, I don't, like, what was this? Like, just exemplifying her evade? Why did we do this? This isn't adding anything. Again, if you're gonna do something, and then we just cut to this. We could have cut this middle part of this, we could have cut this part out and just cut straight to this. Instead, you know? She punches to throw herself backwards? No, she punches to spin herself. Okay, alright. So she throws a bullet to give her momentum that makes her spin around a whole lot. So she has some momentum, and she does a powerful bullet-enhanced spin kick and lands a big ol' hit onto Adam, right on his head. That whole evading thing felt a little unnecessary, but she does land a really cool kick. Now, using the powers of magic, she floats in midair, because sometimes if you just believe, it's like what Tinkerbell said. With Peter Pan, she didn't say anything, but it's like in Peter Pan. If you just believe in fairies, sometimes you can fly. And here she is, flying, because she believes in fairies. She does her mid-air land? Nope, what is she doing? She punches bullets to push herself downward to evade his strike. Closing in the distance between... Oh, there she is! Now she's back. Okay. Closes the distance between them. Big ol' nice cool shot of the waterfall behind them. I wish these mountains weren't here, though. They just tend to obscure a lot. Comes in. Yang, once again, fires to evade him. A lot of good movements of Yang using her bullets to push herself around. I think it's something they tend to struggle with at Rooster Teeth. At least struggle with remembering, because she only uses them when she does do something like this. It tends to be in small bursts. I hate this. So while editing these like scenes together, this one frame, Yang's face fills the screen, and then she's over there. And then she's like going that way for a while. This one frame of her face filling the screen always looks weird in editing. Like, if I cut to just this part, it would feel like a blink to your eye. Here, let's show it to you in, let's show you this volley in real time, so then you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Okay, did you see that? So that extra spin in the middle there, it was unnecessary. Yeah, that just completely, like, threw me off. Like, that mid-spin where we cut to her flying in midair is just a weird, unnecessary cut for no reason. It adds nothing to it. And yeah, so right there where she slides out of Adam's range, her face fills the screen momentarily, and it's like just a weird blink to your eye, almost, because it's just for one frame. It's so weird. It doesn't add much. So anyway, she comes in, flies up, ready to hit, comes in with a big ol' attack. He fires and misses, and he's gonna, big ol' bam, right to it. She phases through his body also, because she's like full on, like, we can see. She, like, there's his body, she's around it, and then she phases through him to do the punch, which is fine. Like, phasing through things, I think is fine. They are working with 3D models, there's only so much they can do for it. Turning around to do a big ol' kick. Big kick, right? She's just really landing a bunch on him. Later he'll be like, your aura must be running low. Man, you've taken way more hits than she has. He hasn't even really landed much of an attack on her yet, either. Oh, she's believing in fairies again. She's flying. She's in midair. She's flying to do another kick. To do another kick? No, she just flew momentarily to kick off of him. Look at that. Her boot is planted onto his, like, hip, and now she's gonna jump up off of him into midair. Look at that smile. She's just happy to be here. Spinning around after jumping off of him to come in, and he's gonna actually block the hit. This will charge up his sword. Oh, you see that? So here, his sword is already in its sheath. It's already up in a defensive maneuver in his sheath. And then we're gonna cut here, and it isn't there yet. Now we gotta see it come up and enter the sheath. Interesting. It's to get a good shot of, because when it glows, that's him absorbing the power for his semblance. It is good to get a good shot of it right here. And then he pushes her off. Well, actually, she fires a bullet. She shouldn't have done that. That was stupid of you. Sorry. My mouse is, like, broken. The wheel on my mouse is, like, really sensitive, and it only goes down. It doesn't scroll up anymore. So if I, like, touch it weirdly, it'll, like, scroll slightly. So, sorry. Yeah, like, she shouldn't have fired a bullet, because she knows how his semblance works. She just charged it up more. Dummy. Big dummy. Ooh, big glow from his sword. Big white, like, glow as he takes in that hit. She's gonna fly back. They'll have their moment. This is some good facial expressions going on here. So this was really the first time he really landed a good hit on her. So they look at each other. They're both like, "Ah, man, this isn't good. We're both a little tired." And he sees that. We see it in his face. He sees they care about each other. They're worried about each other. They're worried about themselves and each other, and each other is what they care about. He sees it. We will see his eyes flicking back and forth. He is putting two and two together. He is realizing what is happening. He sees that this is the relationship. If Adam can notice it, why? Why did it take them so long for them to confirm it? It's so obvious. We see it. It's painted all over his face like a bad scar. Why did it take them so many years to just confirm it? This was the confirmation. We had it. So it looks like he's gonna hit her because she's in frame. But I guess he is turning The implication of this is that it's going to hit her. We should have cut over to see him aiming at Yang more. It's a good shot, seeing him charge up. But having her yell out Yang does tell us that he's not aiming for Blake, he's aiming for Yang. He does his slash. Again, this like energy blob, it just doesn't work. And I have problems with this this follow-up. So he comes in with a big old slash and Yang blocks it. And it looks very cool. The effect is very cool, especially when it takes up the whole screen like this, the big old, the aftermath of it. The thing was, Yang's problem was that she lost an arm, and this attack was really hefty. We can see it really did a number on her arm. Why did you block it? Would it not have been smarter to evade? Like, was that not more the thing we were learning? And it also diminishes the point later when she catches his sword and her, like, semblance is all charged up. Because she didn't evade a hit here, it makes blocking or catching the hit later feel less important, because we've seen her already successfully block a near fully charged up Adam. So, I don't know. You lost an arm, and then your answer was to do the same block maneuver, so you might lose the arm again? I don't know. I feel like there could have been a more powerful way of doing the finale of Yang's little story arc here. But whatever. They didn't do that. I'm running out of water. I had a cup from a fast food joint, and I filled it up with water. Running out. Alright, and then they're gonna talk for, like, forever. We can skip all the talking stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Talking. Again, they say a lot. They say a lot of words, but they say very little. Like, they talk a lot, but they say very little. We can hear this part, though.
She's not protecting me, Adam.
Yeah. Again, this is a nice conclusion for the I'll protect you thing. I wish there was one conversation between them after this, for them to really, like, lay it all out and put their, like fully finish the arc that we had of Yang not wanting to admit that she needs protecting, Blake wanting to, also not wanting to admit that she needs protecting. Yang doesn't want to admit that she needs protecting because she feels weak, and she does not want to feel weak. And the idea that someone needs to protect her diminishes her strength, and she needs to get over that. Blake's thing is she doesn't want someone protecting her because last time someone protected her, they got hurt. This is a very good conclusion for that, but there was a lot missing in the middle. It started with the farm, with them being like, I'll protect you, and then Yang walking away. That was the beginning of the rift. This is the conclusion. There was no middle ground. That's something that happens in RWBY a lot, where there's a very interesting introduction of a thing, very interesting conclusion of a thing, but it's diminished because there is no middle of it. There's no rising action of the story arc. You know, it just kind of is over now. And maybe a follow-up conversation between just these two could have alleviated some of it, but we don't get that, unfortunately. I mean, I guess we get something similar to that when they're on the truck in Volume 7, before they talk to Robin, but it's not. We could have done more, is what I'm saying. For being a show that so often just has the characters sitting around talking to each other, there are so many times where I'm like, I wish they could have just sat around and talked to each other. Because even though so much of the show is them doing that, they're not saying the things that they should be saying. We had an opportunity here, and we wasted it on, let me tell you the history of Argus. It's so fascinating. No, I don't want your lore book. I want the character interactions, please.
And I'm not protecting her.
Big mad. Ooh, big mad. Ooh.
We're protecting each other.
Yeah, we're protecting each other. Woo! Yay! This is a good moment. For, like, as far as, like, iconic RWBY moments, this is a very good one. Too bad they ruin it by following it up with just more standing around talking. And I'm gonna skip over all of it because it's more just Adam being a little shithead and being abusive and emotionally manipulative and a narcissistic dick, and them being like, hey, we don't like you. Shut up, go away. So we can skip over this and go straight into combat. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, and then they square up, and they're ready to fight. Round 3, I think. They are ready to go. He's ready to go. And then we get this is really silly. We should be able to see them. I don't know why they do this. First of all, I just hate this. They have been relying on this, like, split screen thing a whole lot lately. Like, it was all over the place in volumes 7 and 8. I don't know about 9, but, like, I know I am still streaming. Here I am, Wild Pilot. Thank you so much for all the donations you did earlier. You're really cool. You're awesome. But yeah, this split screen thing, it never works. I think it looks horrible. I think it's a bad directing choice. I wish they would stop doing it, and they do it so often in the show, and I hate it. But yeah, I should be able to see, Blake should be here. They're in the same spot. They should be right next to each other. I should see Yang here. I should see Blake here. Doing this split screen thing adds nothing at all. If we're gonna do a split screen, have it be Blake and Yang and then Adam, you know? This is dumb. It makes no sense. It adds nothing. It's a weird way to start the fight. Zoom. Also, why is Yang fat? Whatever. And then they, like, crisscross. So, like, Yang crisses over here and she crosses over here. Coming in for the hit. Here we go. Actual combat again. Running up. Big ol' runs. You can tell it's a good run when your legs do this. When you're, like, full tilt sprint running. Blake jumps up and over him. We're gonna do some really cool stuff where they're gonna, like wombo combo him, which is gonna be cool. Jumps up and over him, cartwheeling past him also, which was a cool move from Yang. Big, like, wide shots like this is a lot of fun, because you get to, like, just see it all, and you can rewatch the scene over and over again and be like, what did Yang do? What did Adam do? What did Blake do? And I like, they do this every now and then in RWBY. I wish they did it more. Cartwheel land. They're now on the other side of Adam. No one landed a hit. I don't even know how many of them actually even attacked in that moment. Yang does, like, a skid maneuver down below, and while she's doing that, Blake is coming up high with, like, a high spin kick jump. Adam attempts to hit Yang, but she's, oh, see this? Watch Yang. Watch Yang. Down, she's down, and then completely upright, facing the other direction. She went from on the ground, doing a slide, facing towards Adam, to upright, facing towards us. Goofy, silly. Could have transitioned between that a little bit better. So, anyway, while that was happening, Blake landed a good ol' hit to the back of Adam. Yeah, so Adam was like, your aura must be running low. Adam takes way more hits than they do. Blake does a shadow clone up over him. Yang blocks some good ol' hits. Blake lands back next to Yang. See, their problem is that they're staying right next to each other, which is fine, but I think they would have had a bit more of a advantage if they surrounded him instead, which they'll do later. You know, they're still figuring things out. He backs up. She knocks him off balance. Yang backflips over him into midair. And now we cut away over to this new angle. Turning. Blake, Yang lands. Landing coolly. We should see Blake somewhere over here. Her model seems to be gone now. I don't know why we do this. Like, we watch Yang land, and then she'll, like, rocket punch herself to the side. Yeah, she just punches herself that way as Blake comes in from the other side. Which is them starting to discombobulate Adam. As Adam is looking back to Yang, she is getting out of frame, and Blake is entering frame. So Adam is disoriented. They are doing a good job at doing a combo maneuver on him, where once he's distracted with one, they back up, and the other one comes in, so he doesn't know necessarily which one to focus on. Here comes Blake, flying through the air. we could see in his expression right there, he was not expecting this. He's caught off guard. They have the advantage. Ooh, a gray strike. This is the first time her strike has been gray during this fight. Ooh, it's probably because it was black, but next to the waterfall and their bodies and the gray, stupid rocks behind them, it probably was hard to see, so they probably just boosted the color in After Effects or whatever. Squat, big ol' squatty maneuver. Launch, jump, and then slash. Ooh, Ballerina Adam, look at him, doing just more spins, big ol' spin maneuver. Good shadow clone. Leaves the shadow clone behind. He's gonna hit that as she backs away. This is bad. So this is his sword hitting the ground. It should have gone through the shadow clone. Instead it just hits the ground. And hitting the ground is important for her follow-up move, which is very, very cool. It just, whenever we keep doing these, like, close-ups on, it's always his sword, too. Or, like, Blake's shoe. Every time we do, it just makes it harder to follow, and I wish they would stop doing that. So yeah, her shadow clone is just now gone for some reason. It should have died during this hitting the sword into the ground. They didn't do that. Blake comes running in, and she actually does something really cool, where she runs up, and she runs on his sword. She lands on his sword, and then uses that to jump up over him. Did she need to? No, we have seen Blake propel herself through midair 100 times before. They fly constantly. She did not need to jump off of his sword, but it looked cool. You know, if it looks cooler, do it. That's the important part. So, yeah, we've seen she has now propelled herself up over Adam. Yang is now nowhere to be seen. Angry. Big angry cat girl. Big spin back into him. That was an interesting maneuver. Just zorping over in his direction. Doing a kick right to his back. They've been kicking this poor boy's back so much. Coming in with Yang. Now she's re-entering the fray. Again, Blake is exiting the frame as Yang enters. Because he doesn't know which one to focus on. As he flies in, she's gonna just wallop him real good, yup. Oh, this poor boy. Went from one, like, parenthesis sign to the other parenthesis sign between frames. Bam, right into him. Sends him flying. And it's a good follow-up from Yang. I wish we got to see her face a little bit more. Like, I wish she turned faster so we could linger on her face longer, because that would have looked really cool. Faces are cool. Your characters have faces, and they are often very expressive. If you can emphasize a character's face during a scene, do so. Here we come in. This is good framing. His body and sword is doing that frame within a frame that we talked about very at the beginning of things. Good frame. We see both girls. They are now both coming back into the action to, again, combo him. Blake comes in, closes the distance. Big ol' slash. Ooh, filling up the screen. Now she's the one usually Adam is the one filling up the screen. Now it's her, because once again, they have the power dynamic in this moment. He's a swinging and a miss. He's disoriented. He can't keep up. Here comes Yang. At this point, he should have realized he can't take both of them on at the same time. She comes in with a horse kick also. I think he evades it. Nope, he doesn't. Just blasts him over with her big old boot. As he's recovering from it, here she comes with a spin. Big old midair spin. Spinning up over him. And gonna do a drop kick. Yep, big old wide swing drop kick onto him. Yes. I wish the bottoms of her shoes were a different color. This is just a super minor, inconsequential detail. But I wish her soles were a different color. Because it would have looked a little bit cooler. Like, even just like this slight tan, like lighter tan that she has. Bottoms of shoes is an unthought of element to character designs. Play around with that stuff. You know? Make them fun. Give them wacky colors and different patterns and things. So yeah, big ol' drop kick. And then Adam recovers. Here comes Blake, also with a drop kick. He doesn't have time. Like, he cannot keep up with both of them. And he should know that by this point. They have made that very apparent as she just knocks him out. Let's see everything we've talked about in real time from the beginning of this fight. Let's go. Grr. Zoom zoom. Yeah. Oh, still going. Yep. Drop kick, double kick. Hell yeah. And now, okay, so an interesting thing is going to happen. She's going to flip back to get her sheath. That was weird. Or, no, it's her sword. No, her sword? What? But it should be her sheath. Has she been holding her sheath this whole time? Is that what she's been using to hit him? But her sheath was the one that he threw earlier. When he... Because her sword... She used her sheath to, like, lock in his sword, and then he threw it. Oh, that's right. He smacked her sword out of her hand and broke it. That's what it was. Okay. So yeah, she's gonna backflip over, grab her sword. She has it now. Gonna do a really cool maneuver. Throws it over. He hits it. Spins in midair. Yang sees what's happening. Launches at it. Grabs the gun in midair so it can't hit Blake, because it was heading straight for her. Coming, like, seeing that. This is a good shot. This is a good shot right here. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is good. With the flow of the ribbon and Yang coming in and just them. Good shot. This is a good shot. This is probably a really good storyboard, too. So yeah, Yang comes in. Grabs the thing. So it can't hit Blake. She's gotten hold of it. And now we're going to do a reverse Bumblebee. So Yang flips up over, grabbing the ribbon. And using herself as an anchor to spin Blake around. You can see her righting herself. Yep, she is an anchor. She is using her intense, beefy arm muscle strength to now spin Blake around with all of her might. Blake sees, she grabs hold of the ribbon. Here she comes. Could have been a better facial expression. This mouth isn't doing it for me, personally. But whatever. Spinning her around, coming in with the run, big power. It's reverse Bumblebee. It's like when they fought the Paladin and they did the Bumblebee maneuver. This is the reverse, which is cool, and it looks awesome. Big, like it moves that take up a lot of the screen. Just in general, look awesome. So. Like especially with two characters working in tandem of each other. Blake's ribbon, it works very well for that, with moments like this. She comes in, flying through the air, lots of momentum. All those things I said about Adam suddenly filling up the screen to convey his power and speed, it's the same thing here. We see how much room she has to close the distance between them. Spins in midair with a huge hit, but he has just enough time to also spin. He does a whole spin here for no important reason other than these characters love spinning to block her strike because he sees what's happening. A big ol' impact between the two of them and pushes her away. It's just too much of an impact, and they both go flying, but because she was in air, she goes like really flying. He just gets pushed back. You see that into like a crab maneuver. There's Yang over here. She wasn't that far when we started doing the spin, but I'm willing to forgive that kind of stuff. Blake goes flying. Adam, like, tries to recover, but he also kind of just goes flying. He is able to land, she doesn't. There's her aura breaking, I believe. It's all, meaningless. Breaking aura and stuff, it all doesn't mean anything. You want to hear some more bad Adam dialogue?
Moment of truth, Yang.
This is the first time he has ever heard, like, said her name. Blake said Yang a couple of times, so he definitely learned it, by this point, but it's so weird hearing Adam say a character's name that isn't Blake, you know?
Do you think you're faster than you were at Beacon?
She's already blocked a hit from him, so speed doesn't matter at this point. It just means nothing. If she, again, it's that ending shot at the end of last episode, this one, where she blocks it with her arm. This would have meant more if she hadn't have done that earlier, you know? He remembers me. Oh god, am I? My trembling thing that happens whenever he sees that has rattled her. He thinks he now has an advantage. His whole thing is being manipulative. If he can emotionally manipulate you, he will. He learned a way to manipulate her. That was what was happening here. When he saw her trembling, it clicked in his head. He now knows how he can get to her. So he ends up talking a lot more, and ends up nagging her a lot more during this moment, because now he knows what he can say to throw her off. That's what he does, because he's an abuser. That's what he does.
Me neither.
Here we go. Alright, back into the combat stuff. Adam zips forward. Coming in at Yang. She's gonna do a really cool dodge. This big slash up towards her, and she ducks underneath it. Spins around. Whoa, what is that? What is this? What are these? Is this clouds? Are clouds peeking through her? Whoa, look at that. It goes right over her face and everything, too. Nifty. Neat. Anyway, so yeah, she backflips out of range of his sword with a weird down strike. You know, this is an interesting way for him to hold his sword. He doesn't usually do this. But he's getting desperate. Again, like I said, he knows he's losing. Coming in with a bunch of strength, lots of spins, lots of slashes, big ol' hit. Now he's hitting her. Now it's the opposite. Finally, she's getting the damage taken. You know, she's been on top of him this whole time. She's landed a bunch of hits. And now that she's been rattled slightly because of what he said, he's taken the opportunity to hit back. Bam. Big ol' kick right to her. It's a bit of a bad angle because her body obscures it entirely. There's not even like a glow effect. Like, you would believe he missed this hit, like she dodged it. But, yeah, a bit too close to the character, for impact's sake. But, whatever. We've done this several times already. So, yeah. Yeah, this whole moment, this whole cutting in close, just to cut farther away, they do it so often, and I think they do it when they don't know how to transition out of something, or they're trying to reset the, like the animation, like move the characters around in the scene without people noticing, and I think there are better ways of doing it, personally. So yeah, there's a big ol' upper view of the fight. They're gonna just do a couple of like slash dodge stuff, you know, nothing too special, especially from that angle. And now we're gonna see Yang, like, Yang looks great throughout this whole fight, just in general. I love her. She has such a good face during this fight. She looks adorable. Oh, Adam's talking again. Gotta hear what he says.
Aura's bound to be running low.
Yeah, your aura's bound to be running low. He's hit her like 3 times. She's taken virtually no damage so far, compared to him, at least. So I don't know where he's getting this. He's just making things up. But it might just be a part of him making things up. It might just be a part of his manipulative, nagging behavior to be like, oh, you're probably pretty weak right now, huh? You look like you're pretty weak right now. To, like, rattle her some more. And this is also when she's gonna start noticing Blake. So she sees Blake. He is too, like, he has tunnel vision. He's not noticing these things. He's not going to be thinking about this. Because, again, he's not running at full capacity. If this was full capacity Adam, he probably would have gone after Blake rather than staying to nag Yang some more, you know? But, yeah, Yang notices we spend a little too long on this shot, you know? Like, it's fine. Like, we're doing we're setting things up. You know, we want the audience to see what's happening and everything. We do something with Blake that is very dumb. We'll get to it. So yeah, she's climbing. Yang sees. She sees what Blake is doing, as she knows she needs to get ready for whatever Blake is going to do. They can't explain to each other what the plan is, because they're too far away, without Adam also hearing. So they just need to be prepared for each other, right? So he goes, hit me already, and then she hears that and gets ready, and then coming back in with more combat stuff, she evades a slash, barely, coming back in with another one, and she flips over it. Interesting. A whole lot of really weird things happened here. I don't know why he slashed below, like down low, and she flipped up over it. It's fine, I guess. It looks fine, you know. Then he goes, what does she even see in you? What does she even see in you? Which is fine. It's just such a goofy... Adam's so goofy. Like, it's not just him negging Yang, it's also a sign of him, like, losing it. He doesn't have control. He is a person who thrives off of having control of others, and this is him losing it. He does not have that. So, he comes in. I love this shot. This is one of my favorite shots. So, he throws his sword. He's done something like this earlier, too. Like, in the first, last episode, he throws his sword, and he knows Blake can dodge it. And she does this exact same thing she did last time, and she blocks it. And as she's, preparing for that hit, it really throws her back. Like, you can see how much she's struggling against it. Again, like that chainsaw grinding maneuver, like we talked about before. So yeah, and it hits her back, because this one's stronger. Because as we can see with the darkening of the screen, this one was a much stronger one compared to the first time he did this maneuver. So he knows what she'll do in this moment. So he's adjusting his tactics here. So he knows she will block it, and she does, and she can. It's stronger than she was expecting, but she is able to do the same thing and push it off of her. But instead of last time he grabbed it and then, kicked it back at her and she punched it into the ground. This time, he reaches forward and grabs it in midair to do a big downward strike. So as she's, recoiling from the strength of the hit that she just blocked, now she's leaving herself open. And he comes in and lands a big ol' hit on her. Big ass slash. Right there. Right there. Oof. Ah. Woo. Big ol' hit. It just sends her flying, tumbling to the ground. And here's the thing is, she could recover faster. She is intentionally also trying to distract Adam. Because if Adam stops noticing her or takes his eyes off of her, he'll notice Blake. And so she's probably also intentionally taking some of these hits so he won't see what Blake's doing. And she, looks over. We see Blake is doing things. This is what she's looking over at. So Blake is going up. We see her climbing up. She is ascending. It's dumb. Okay, so here's an awesome moment. Did you see it? Did you see her eyes turn red for a second? For just a brief second? It's so cool. Here it comes. Big ol' hit. And she does block it, you know? And I wish if we didn't have that shot from before, like I was saying, it would be what, did she succeed in blocking it? Did it, cut her arm off again? Because there's so much of an explosion. That question is there. That's what they wanted to do. But because she blocked it here, I know she's fine. She blocked it once, she can block it again. So if they wanted to really have an impact on this, they would have had her evade here rather than block, you know? This is a good scene. I was flailing because I was excited. I also think this is Barbara's best performance for Yang as a voice actress. Because when this happened and it cleared and I saw she caught the sword, that's awesome. She didn't block it. She didn't evade it. She grabbed it. She caught it.
Gotcha.
Yeah! Yeah! Yes! So I like the fire hair a lot. I like the glow it used to have from the yellow trailer as well. But the fire does look very cool. I like glowing fire is the best version. It looks best here. And it looks like this is what they always wanted it to be, because they always wanted it to be like fire, but it took them a very long time to really get the fire effects to look right, you know? Ruby's really struggled with fire with their animation, so... Alrighty. Yeah, it's all good. Her voice acting is good, the fire hair looks great, it's a cool hit, it's a cool moment, it's good. This was a good scene. This is why this is my favorite fight from Volume 6, because it just looks cool. It's empowering, it's impactful, it's a great moment for the character. This is a good conclusion for Yang's arc that she's been going through for the last couple of volumes, of losing the arm, being afraid of Adam, to now outsmarting him and getting his sword, you know? Which we've learned by now, like, when he didn't have his sword on him, that was when Blake did the best against him. So now that Yang has also taken away his sword, we know that this is their moment. So yeah, she just launches him, good impact. Seeing this, the, like, earth getting dug up from his body impact, it makes me wish we had played around with digging up earth more during the fight. Like, maybe, like, punching up chunks of rock to, like, throw at him or something. But whatever. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know? Having it be an even playing field isn't bad, especially for a moment like this. So yeah, his aura breaks, or shimmers. I don't know if it broke. I guess it broke, because they kill him. And she's like, no, I'm not faster, or whatever, but I'm smarter. And I saw some people didn't understand necessarily what that meant. Smarter is taking the sword. Rather than trying to hit him again, it's taking the sword. Getting the sword away from him. Throwing the sword away. That's what smarter is. She baited him into getting close enough so she could get the sword. And that's how she's working smarter. And she did it while using her semblance, which is another thing that she worried about, because she likes her semblance. She likes using her semblance. And Ty was like, stop using your semblance so much. And it's like, why would you tell her to do that, Ty? Her semblance is very good. It's not that she shouldn't use it as much. She just needs to know when to use it at opportune moments. Yeah, throws the sword away. And so Blake was going up the whole time, and now she's suddenly below them. She does an uppercut to him. It's so weird. Blake's inclusion at the end here, I feel like could have been better, you know, like a drop kick, or rather than seeing her climbing, like jumping all around and climbing things, like prepare for the uppercut better. I don't know. Maybe something. I do not know, but it could have been better than this, I'm just gonna say. So yeah, she punches him. Flips back, we see the two bits of her sword that he cut in half earlier, conveniently right next to each other. Which I am going to say that was a little convenient, because this bit was lost, but now suddenly it's right next to her sword, you know? Okay, sure. When did she drop the sword? I guess when... after their big impact and they got flying away from each other, Yang had it. I guess she just dropped it afterwards. But yeah. So yeah, the two shards of the sword, they both see. Blake rushes forward, Yang rushes forward. This is weird. So it seems like they're both gonna reach it in time, but they don't. Instead, Blake grabs it first, and we see Yang grabbing this. I'm fine with Yang using the other half of the sword to help kill Adam. I wish we would have, I don't know, maybe had her holding onto it longer or something. I don't know. This is kind of, and suddenly, at the very end, all things line up very perfectly for the chain of events to happen. And because, like, Blake and Adam were right next to it as they were leaning, now suddenly, with this, like, big charge attack Blake's doing here, it feels like suddenly Adam wasn't as close as he clearly was before. It's fine. I'm willing to forgive it, because it does look cool. I remember when this happened, I was befuddled. I was amazed. I was like, our heroes actually killed a man. They did it? They've killed a man. They've killed a dude. He's dead. They did that. They stabbed him. He is dead. And I was so amazed, because, like, this is the real moment, because we all joke around, you know, like, oh, back in Volume 2, Ruby was blasting dudes off of the train during the train fight at the end of Volume 2. They're all definitely dead, wah wah. But we all know that that wasn't really the implication. Back then, it was much more Team Rockety, like, oh, they flew off, but they were fine, you know, they bounced, they recovered, they have aura, there was no implication that they died there, you know, it was very goofy, people go, like, Penny threw her swords, and a bunch of like, white fang dudes went flying upward buffoonery-wise, and did a bowling ball pin effect sound effect, you know? It wasn't meant to be taken seriously. This is the first moment our characters have gone out of their way to really kill someone. Like, they have beat one of their foes. And more importantly, this is the first one of their enemies that they have played a hand in actually beating and stopping and killing. So before this, Torchwick died, but Ruby didn't really have anything to do with it. She was there, and she distracted him, I guess, so they didn't notice the griffin that ate him, but she was not intending for that to happen. I don't think Ruby would have wanted it to happen, especially Volume 3 Ruby. I think she would have opted to get the police to arrest him instead. But, yeah, he died, but she didn't really have much to do with it. This is the next one. This is the first moment of our heroes have beaten their enemy. They have done it. And it's a pretty big moment. This scene, this is iconic. This is when people think about Ruby, this is one of the screenshots that they think about. It looks cool. It was a cool moment. Big build-up. Very awesome. So yeah, and also, but this was also, it's a little bittersweet, because the first time I saw this was the moment I realized the show was gonna end. Sooner rather than later. Like, I was like, Volume 6 has to at least be the halfway point. Because now that they're taking steps to beat their enemies, there can't be too much longer left before they start taking out the other enemies that they have. And I was right. It is wrapping up sooner rather than later. It ended up being longer than I expected. But yeah, this was a really big, like, landmark moment for the characters and the show. And it's pretty crazy. It's a good moment. You know, I think it's a good send-off for Adam. You know, people talk about Adam. He was clearly a fan favorite. He looks cool. He has a cool fighting style. He has a cool semblance. I understand why he was a big fan favorite. But it was a good send-off for him. Like, he didn't go out like a chump. It was a 3-episode fight between him and these two girls. It took 3 whole episodes. From the beginning here to the ending here, this was 3 episodes. That's a lot. That's a big fight for one guy. For just to beat one dude. 3 episodes. That's a lot. That's pretty cool. So, he went out, he got some really cool moments, really cool attacks. He got a boost to his semblance during it, which was awesome. You know, some good screenshots came from this moment. This was a cool way to finish off the character. And I'm glad we finished off Adam, because the White Fang was just a hindrance to the story. And he was the last remaining element of the White Fang to keep, like, bringing that back up. So we realize, we all know that they did a pretty piss-poor job with handling, the Faunus. And, you know, they had to get rid of Adam sooner or later. Adam was always going to end up being the first one to go. You know, he's a trailer villain, introduced in the trailers. He's been dragged around for forever. And the worst thing is, he had very little to actually do with the real plot. You know, with the maidens and stuff like that. He had no interest in it. He didn't talk to them. You know, he worked with them, but he had his own agenda, you know, with the White Fang and stuff. He didn't really care about getting relics or helping Salem and whatnot. So it makes sense that he would end up getting offed sooner or later. Especially because also a lot of him ended up getting, like, there wasn't a lot of him in between. You know, he's not in Volume 1 at all. He's at the very, very, very end of Volume 2. He gets some attention in Volume 3, but then he disappears again. Volume 4, he's nothing. Volume 5, he's barely there. Volume 6, he was in another version where maybe he got more screen time. I could have thought, oh, he could have gone longer, but this character was clearly never meant to last He was not going to stick around to begin with. He's a good villain for them to fight, and it was a good moment for them to end him off here, also. Like, yeah, he could have ran off and lived, you know, because he flumps over into the waterfall, and we could make the argument that he could have survived this, but he clearly doesn't. But I don't think bringing him back would add anything to the story anymore. You know, it was such a big moment for Blake and Yang, and having them move beyond this is much more interesting than having it just be stuck on Adam for forever. You know, I don't want their relationship to have always been about, ooh, Adam is scary and we don't like him. Getting him out of the picture helps them grow more without him, you know? So, good riddance, Adam. Goodbye. You were never that great in the first place. I know he's a big fan favorite. I never really liked him that much. Like, even when the Black trailer came out, I was always just like, he's fine. Like, he's cool, he gets some good glowy moments, but I always liked Blake more. I think she looks cooler, especially back in Volume 1. I liked her personality a lot better back from Volume 1. Like, he's fine. He's fine. He's not bad. But Blake was always more fun for me. And also there was just every single other character. Adam always ranked very low. I never found him that interesting. And people talk about like, oh, there was potential with him. You know, there's potential with Ilya, too. And I like Ilya. She's a cute girl with a really fun semblance. I don't know if it's a semblance or just her animal ability. But she changes colors, and that's cool. Adam doesn't do that. Adam's just Shadow the Hedgehog. Let's be honest. And here's the thing, I like Shadow the Hedgehog. I think Shadow's cool, and he's goofy, and he's fun, and he's more cool than Adam. Anyway, let's hear this moment. Big emotions. Big emotions. Big emotions. Good scene. Good moment of just quiet afterwards. So we're talking about, if you made it at the very beginning of the stream, I talked about how it's like 50% action versus 50% talking. This is the best moment of talking, was the follow-up. This moment of, we're not fighting anymore. I'm tired. I collapse. A lot of emotions running through me. Because even though Adam was horrible and they wanted him to die, that was someone she at once cared about. And that's gonna be hard for anyone. Like, even if you hate him, it's gonna be hard. Like, even if she doesn't care about him being dead, like, she did that. They had to take his life. That's gonna leave an impact on them. Again, I wish they talked about it more afterwards. But they don't. Once again with Ruby. They're, like, despite being a show where all they do is sit around and talk to each other, they never talk to each other about the parts that would be really interesting for them to talk about. Baseball slide in to get a big old gushy hug.
I'm not gonna break my promise. I swear.
Good scene. Good moment. Good line. It's all good. It's very good. And yep. And yeah, and then I can't imagine, so the people who are like, there's no way Bumblebee is real, it's not gonna happen. How do you see this and not think it's gonna happen? Like, really? How often do you hold your friends like this? Like, I know she's mourning and she's, like, going through the ringer emotionally, and Yang is here to, like, help make her feel better. But come on! Like, come on! This is why, in my mind, this is the celebration for Bumblebee. Because for me, this was the confirmation. This was all I needed. They didn't need to say anything else. They didn't need to be like, will you date me? Will you want to kiss me? I love you. They didn't need to. But then after this, they kept making it weird and vague. And then I was like, well, if you're going to keep making it vague, you have to confirm it then, because this was supposed to be the confirmation. But no one, whatever. So yeah, we've done it. It took so long. But we did it. The whole fight, from beginning to end, all 11 minutes. It took several hours, which I was not expecting. I'll pop in. Just give me a second. There I am. So yeah, that was a very, very long stream, but we did it, and it was awesome. So, thank you, everybody. You're all awesome. Wild Pilot, did you donate some more at the very end there? The chat is not moving very, very quickly. It's just it needs to load in because I changed screens. So yeah, it's popping back in, loading everything back in. So it took 3 hours. Wow, no, that's about what I expected. Big ol' fight. A whole lot. That's why I wanted to do this, because I knew if I talked about the Bees versus Adam fight, it would be so much to say. And doing it live was so much easier. Like going through the play-by-play and being able to just be like, look at that, I'm pointing it out now. Rather than doing it on my own, writing down a script, recording all my audio, figuring out what I need to like make to go faster. Jeez Louise, Anonymous, donating $200. Dang, guys, we've $1.5 thousand raised. Hell yeah. So now that's the end, let's go through all of the super chats we got. If I can. Can I? I don't know if I can. I don't know if it loads back that far. Dang. Well, everybody who has donated, you're all awesome. If I missed your super chats during the stream, I'm sorry. I tried. I did my best. Everyone is super cool. You've all done so great. You've done such great stuff here. I'm amazed we've raised this much. That's super cool. I might do this annually. It's been such a success. I might do something like this again next year. I would have to find another big ol' fight scene to do an analysis of. Maybe I'll do the Volume 5 finale. Who knows? So yeah, this was awesome. You're all really awesome. And this was really, really cool. Thank you all so much for showing up, for donating. Whether you donated or not, thank you for showing up. If you did donate, thank you. No matter how big or small it was. That's really awesome. It's a cool thing we've done today. And I'm super proud of you all. I'm super proud of everybody. Congratulations. Yes. Yes. Alright. So, that was it. Bumblebee versus Adam. A very long fight with a lot of good, a lot of bad. It goes back and forth a lot. I hope you all had fun. I hope you all learned. I know, Volume 5 finale, frame by frame. Okay, it sounds like a nightmare already. But yeah, thank you so much for showing up, for being here, for doing everything. We've raised so much more money than I expected, and that's awesome. Thank you, everybody. I think it's finally time to end the stream. My throat is a little sore. I've been going for quite a while, and I think that should be everything. Thank you so much. You're all so awesome. If you didn't get a chance to donate during the stream, like you're watching the VOD, you can still always donate more for the Trevor Project on your own. Like, you can go straight to their website and donate some more. That's, like, you can do that at any point in time, and that's really cool and really awesome. So, thank you, everybody, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.